best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
Let's go back into the old Wayback Machine. Do you remember in the 80s one day, it was basically, I saw it as a national holiday. It was every bit as exciting as 4th of July when Domino's announced 30 minutes or it's free.
Oh, yeah, right.
And that was real. And that's before GPS. Let's just go back and think about what that meant. You called on a landline, which no longer exists, oftentimes on a rotary phone, and someone answered it, and they wrote down on a piece of paper what you were going to order. They didn't have a computer in front of them. If they were typing it, it was like you would have heard the typewriter. Clack, 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 clack. Steve, large price destroyer. Clack, 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 clack. And then they handed that piece of paper to someone who made that pizza and then figured out where you lived and gave a delivery guy instructions to your house. And that bad boy was always there in less than 30 minutes.
Hit the gas. And it didn't get lost. I remember in South Mini ordering a couple of pies from, can we call them pies if they're Domino's?
Yeah, sure.
That might be an overreach. But anyway, he showed up like 5 minutes late, and I remember going to the door, and my roommate's like, make sure you tell him they're free. I'm like, I'm not going to tell him they're free, dude. I mean, he's 5 minutes late. Who cares? Yeah. Close enough. But the delivery driver, probably don't see a lot of this behavior much anymore either. Said, no, I'm late. I already knew.
Oh, yeah.
These are absolutely free. I did give him like a $5. I'm like, here, put a little cash in your pocket, man. You still made the run. But, you don't see much of that anymore. But, yeah, they did it the old-fashioned way.
We had several times when the guy would show up at, it'd be 35 to 40 minutes, and he wouldn't even accept. It was just like, here you go. And he would just hand you the pizzas and turn around and go. Yeah. It was a no frills, no questions asked, 30 minutes or less, or it's free. And I mean, just think about that. You're like, okay, you place the order, you tell them where you live and all that, and then you'd go like, okay, what time does your clock say? Okay, mine says 9:17. Yours says 9:19. Okay, so which 30 minutes? I mean, you could be hammering the details out ahead of time.
3, 2, 1, and then, now,
and then the dude would make it. Or it was incredible.
They had some controversy, though. There was accidents and tickets. I mean, that's why they had to discontinue that.
But that was pizza.
But that was years after. I mean, that thing was going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Right. It did get a little, maybe it got irresponsible. You would, though. I mean, this has probably happened to everybody in the city. Get cut off by a Domino's driver. Mm-hmm. It would happen to me all the time. I'd be, oh, yeah, I get it, dude. Get that pizza there. Get paid.
I delivered Domino's for 3 days in college. They put it. Yeah, I didn't have a car. They put a Domino's.
Never made it in 30 minutes.
They put a Domino's right off campus. I mean, like it was literally across a 2-lane street from campus. And I went in there. They were hiring, and I said I want to deliver. And they said, "What kind of car do you have?" And I said, "Well, I don't have a car." And the guy goes, "You got to have a car." And I said, "Oh, I thought you were just delivering to campus." And the guy literally said, "Well, if you just want to deliver on campus," I said, "I can do it on a bike." And he goes, "Okay." And he did, and it was great. And it was just exhausting. I was dead. And it was just
3 days.
Just a mile tops, but just going, and then you go into dorms. And you're like, you go to the front desk of a dorm, old school dorm, like, there's a house phone, but if you can't, then if it's after 10 p.m., you got to go to the front desk and talk to the guy at the front desk, call so-and-so in room 106. And then the stone douchebag comes down and he doesn't have enough money. It was just driving me crazy. That 30 minutes, that didn't apply to me. I was like, dude, you want your food or not? Pay up.
What if you didn't have a bike and just you breaking into a full sprint?
It'd be that's a good scene for a show or a movie, the Domino's guy.
I feel like back in the day, and might be the curmudgeon in me coming out, the old man, but there was a lot more integrity with the food delivery. You didn't have to worry about them messing with your food. You hear about that all the time now.
Yeah.
I'm going to ambush you with this one. A DoorDash driver this time got caught being a chocolate-faced liar. So the lady has ordered some chocolate chip cookies.
My box of cookies, why is it open? It's open. The box is open. Why is it open? You was eating it. You got chocolate on your mouth.
No.
You got chocolate right there on your mouth. You was eating my cookies?
Yeah.
You was eating them. It's open.
Open.
I'm reporting you to DoorDash.
Yeah, there might be a bit of a language barrier there. He looked pretty stupid, but he had chocolate chocolate chip cookies all over his face. It's like, it's all over your face. No, I didn't. It's literally all over your face.
You know, we
had
had
the boxes open.
At the old Gorman household, because there were so damn many of us, we had the spare fridge and freezer in the basement.
Yes.
Just, the bulk, pre-Costco, the bulk purchases that Imelda was working. And my brother and I were down there in the downstairs freezer, and we found blueberries that had just been purchased. And my mom used to make jam, strawberry jam and blueberry stuff, and she had just gotten a ton of blueberries fresh, and they weren't frozen yet. And we were like, oh, man. I mean, who knows? She was probably going to wait 3 months to use them for something. She had a real stringent planner on a shoestring budget. And Doug and I just crush a couple of those containers of blueberries. Like guys coming out of a cave in Thailand after 42 days. We're like,
Yeah.
And then we hear the whistle. That's the Gorman whistle. Bedtime, and we just run upstairs to say goodnight. We walk into the den, and this is a true thing. Every night of my life as a child, every night, time for bed, you walk in, my parents are in the den, and you say goodnight and give them both a kiss. Good night, son.
Yeah.
Good night. I mean, it was like a line. You just had to. You didn't poke your head in and go, I'm going to bed. You walked in, bend over, kiss goodnight, love you. That's it. Every night. Mm-hmm. We walk in, and my parents both look up at us, and we're like, well, good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. And my dad goes, hey, you guys, were we downstairs? And we're like, yeah. Because you weren't, you didn't get in your mother's blueberries, did you? And I remember thinking to myself, this bastard is clairvoyant. I don't know how he does it. I swear I don't know how he does it. And Doug and I look at each other, and our faces are both just blue. We both have blue lips, blue nose, blue cheeks. We have so much blueberry juice on our face. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we both had the instant recognition of, oh, oops, should have stopped by the bathroom downstairs to wash off. I just remember thinking, like, how did you know?
Yeah, dad stuff, right? No, you're just bad criminals. That's a good thing, that you're a bad criminal. But no.
Sorry, Mazep, but we're talking about delivery people and food. Check this out. A couple months ago in England, police are sitting around doing what policemen do, minding their own business, right? Just doing our thing. And they look up and they see a thief is running down the street, and he's got a full-sized refrigerator strapped to his back. And he's not like a delivery guy. He's a dude who's hustling. And they're like, oh, my God, the guy just lifted someone's refrigerator, and he's getting away on foot. And they track him down, and they're like, oh, what's all this then? You could just see the scene, these two bobbies. And the guy says, no, I'm sorry, I'm training for the London Marathon.
Shut up.
And they're like, I'm sorry, what? He goes, no, I'm training for the London Marathon. I'm trying to break the Guinness World Record for, wait for it, fastest marathon carrying a household appliance.
It exists?
It's a real thing, and this guy is in training for it. The current record last year is a Royal Marine corporal who finished a marathon in 4 hours and 52 minutes with a refrigerator strapped to his back.
See, this is why I would never entertain running a marathon. I'm going to lose to someone that's going to go flying past me with a fridge on their back,
Yeah.
Or there's an old lady that's running it backwards.
It's the first time I ever went skiing, snow skiing, and I was just dying out there. I could, it was one thing to fall down, but then I couldn't even stand up after. Towards the end, I was so tired of just falling and standing and falling and standing. And but the worst part of it, and I was like a senior in high school, so I was still like a kid. I was playing sports, but by the end of the day, I was just dead. And just watching like 6-year-olds just fly past me laughing. It's like, oh, you bastard kids. You're right. I would never, get yourself into a marathon and you're going to be like, you're going to be 17 miles in and a nun is going to go past you or something.
Right.
Throwing just holy water on you just in her rosary beads in her habit.
Doing her fast walk, too. Not even like breaking her knees kind of thing, I wouldn't run one anyway, but when I think about tackling things like that, you're just the fastest marathon with an appliance. Okay. All right.
Things go wrong at home all the time, and you just move on. But, man, when you have paid and you have traveled and something goes wrong, it just really sticks to you, unless it happens to someone you're with and not you. Case in point, in 1991, the first time my wife and I ever took a trip together, she was not my wife yet, had a break in tour. I was on the road a lot, and it was the first year I had a little extra cash in my pocket, and I can tell you exactly how much I had. I think I had $9,000 total, like on Earth. But that was $8,000 more than I'd ever had at one time in my life, so I was flush. And I was talking to my brother, and he and his wife had just gone to the Virgin Islands, and he goes, you can fly to St. Thomas, and then there's this little island next to it called St. John, and it's paradise. And that's literally all I knew. I went, okay. They got flights from Atlanta that are nonstop to St. Thomas. Booked 2 tickets. We flew down, got a ferry, ended up on St. John. There was one hotel at that time on the island, like a resort. And we just went for a long weekend. And I was like, I'd never been anywhere near the Caribbean. I'd never seen water that was clear. I mean, it was. I was like, oh my God, this is how people live. This is the most amazing thing on earth. And for 4 days, I was just in heaven. My girlfriend / now wife, a couple problems. One, she's of Italian heritage, great sun, great tanning history. She would get a tan in an hour in the summer. In a normal part of the world, close to the equator, she'd never been sunburned a day in her life. She'd never experienced a sunburn. She could just walk out. She not anymore, because I was like, hey, you should probably get some suntan lotion down there. I think we're down. It's different sun. She's like, oh, we'll see. And she laid out in the sun like her normal process for maybe 20 minutes and just got burnt, got roasted, and was painful, and she'd never experienced it. I'm like, you've never been sunburned? What the hell? And then that's when the spider bit her up and down her leg. And it was some bizarre spider where we had to go to the clinic on the island, and the guy said, yeah, it's a good thing you came here. If you'd waited till tomorrow, it would start dissolving the tissue. And it's like a whole thing.
Oh, man.
Right, then have a little sign punched in the sand, look out for the flesh-eating spiders.
Yeah, and so she's got sunburn and hard antibiotics. And we came back, and by the way, for several years, people go, how was it? I'm like, man, it was amazing. And she'd look at me and go, it was amazing. I was laid up in a hospital. I'm like, well, I mean, other than that, but it was just great.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then finally I just had to change my story to, it was really bad. We got sunburned and bit by spiders because she was so angry. I thought we had a great trip. No, that's not how it went.
Not a romantic getaway.
So I'm like, do you want to go back to St. John? She's like, why? So I can die? I'm like, no. But truth is, that is actually where we got married. I did talk her back into it. We had a great trip for the wedding.
Oh, all right. So
yeah.
you did a make good.
But
give her a ring with a spider on it.
Just tattoos. Just matching spider tattoos. Yeah. There's been a few others. But we had some of them. I have been sick on vacation. We've had things go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It happens. But Zepp, you had an issue in the Dells, you said.
Well, so having grown up in South Dakota, I wasn't hip to the Dells. That's just a classic weekend trip for Minnesota families to run the kids out to the Dells. But I was a big fan of the Gear Daddies. I'm like, oh, yeah, I love that song, You're Going to the Dells, taking the family to the Dells. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's what I did growing up. So having had 2 daughters born in Minnesota, I thought, we've got to go to the Dells. These girls have to experience the Dells. We truck it on out there. And they're known for their water resorts, right? But I'm an outdoorsy guy, and I want my girls to camp. We're not going to some water resort. Sure, we'll hit a water park or 2, but we're going camping, and I'm going to show you girls what tubing's all about. Well, it was a drought year, so they haul you about 6 miles away from your campground, drop you and the tubes off. The bus takes off. We hop in the water and float out to the middle, and about 20 minutes later, I noticed we haven't moved a foot. There is no current. We're just dead in the water. So I leap out of my tube and thought I'll start swimming us and get us moving here. Leap out of the tube. It's about 6 inches deep. Just muddy, 6-inch deep puddle of water I'm standing in. Bus is gone. So I'm walking now a bunch of tubes tied together, 6 miles. Took me about 5 hours. The girls cried or slept the entire time. Pretty sure they were suffering from heat exhaustion.
Sure.
Everybody very upset. We get back to the campground. I'm like, all right, let's just get up there, we'll start a little fire, we'll get some marshmallows going, it'll be a fun night. Kid you not, God, with his sense of humor, the skies opened up. Massive downpour, suddenly on a drought year. I mean, it poured for hours. We had standing water in the tent. Again, everyone crying. Next morning, packed up, everybody very muddy, everything just thick, gooey mud. and we went to a resort and
Sure.
checked in and tried to salvage our vacation in the Dells.
That's how that goes. Tony, over the holidays, you and the family, I know you guys were out in the out in the Rocky Mountains. You killed a hiker, right? Didn't you have to bury a body out there?
Well, he was lipping
Great
off.
place to do it.
And luckily, I had a machete.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking back, my girlfriend at the time took me to Florida, and we went parasailing. So we were up 400 feet up in the sky.
Sorry, that's just what a great setup.
Yeah, but
we went parasailing.
But of course, no sunscreen. I was college age, dope, and I got the worst sunburn of my life. I was just lobster boy, and I couldn't move.
Yeah.
I even walked around in the hotel, and people would stop and just go, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry."
Yeah, when
someone would someone just touch your skin and then there'd be that white spot that would
Yes.
just then turn cherry red again.
I think it's so cute that that's your worst vacation moment. That's happened to me like a bunch.
Every summer.
So is it true, Candace, is it true that you can actually get sunburned in a dark room?
Yeah, probably.
It's like some people say they smell food and gain weight. You think about the sun and your skin turns red, right?
Yeah.
The translucent Candace Wheeler, I believe we established last year.
That happened to me when I went to North Carolina last year. I got real sunburned.
I remember.
But my worst, when I was a kid, I went on a cruise and I get really seasick and motion sickness and stuff. But that was the first time I ever experienced it, and it was just awful. I was so sick. I was throwing up. My parents ditched me, and they went to do like the little excursion. They left me on the boat, and then when I came back, I was like dying, and so they took me to the what is it, like, with a little spot in the boat, like where the doctor is.
Infirmary,
yeah. So it was in the way basement of the boat, and they stuck me with this shot.
Basement. They dug a hole in the bottom of the boat.
Below deck, all right?
Poured cement.
Below deck, okay?
Steerage, yeah.
Yep, and big needle full of this blue liquid.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And yeah.
NyQuil chicken.
NyQuil chicken, there you go.
I felt better. I don't know, but it was a very traumatizing experience. I'll never go on a cruise again.
They've done, it's international law and children and morphine. There's a whole gray area there. It's just, they just do what they got to do.
Once they get you out.
They just settle you right down. Bing, bang, boom. I've been seasick once. I've never had that problem. I can get on a boat, have a good time. I've never been on a cruise, but on just boats. The only time I ever got seasick, it really is. It's way worse than I imagined it to be. There's just and it was in the Gulf of Mexico on a deep sea fishing boat. On tour, day off on the road, and government mule was out with us, and we were all talking one night, like, hey, let's all get a boat and go deep sea fishing. We did it once; it was fun. We're down in like off of Pensacola, and so we have to take off, and it's November. It's not May or June. It's fall in the Gulf. So it's not like cold, but it's not summery at all. And for whatever reason, we all decided it's a 7 a.m. departure, and we're going to go out a couple of hours, and we're going to be out there all day. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. And for whatever reason, that was the night before that I decided around 2 a.m., screw it. If I go to sleep, I won't want to wake up. I'll just play through the night. Just stayed up all night and thought, what could go wrong? And then I was in the headspace where I thought the funniest thing I could do was walk to the boat holding a martini. Like, that would just, what a great moment this is going to be. By the way, I was in my 30s already. And I got on the boat just up all night and just hammered, but in a great mood. And as the boat goes out to the place, I mean, we're going out into the Gulf for 90 straight minutes to get to this spot. And I'm at the front of the boat, and it's crashing waves, and it's choppy water, and I'm like, the air in my face, I'm loving it. I'm like, this is amazing. The second that boat stopped and he dropped anchor, I got so sick. I mean, I was fine for the ride out, the choppy ride. The minute I was just on a boat, not moving except bobbing in the water, I started getting sick, and I couldn't say, guys, we have to bring the boat back. So I just laid there for 6 hours of pure hell. It never got better.
That's what I understand. My dad, on a deep sea fishing thing, we went out in the Gulf, and same thing. And he said, I mean, he still to this day will say that was the worst day of his life. And I know I went out on a booze cruise in Boston when I was about, 20 or whatever. And it's one of these double-decker whale boats, and you pay $10. It was the 80s, you pay $10, all you can drink. And man, the people that before they even got super drunk, that just started heaving and puking. And luckily, I haven't had the motion sickness thing. But to get off that boat, you had to hold on to the railings to get off when it was docked because there was so much puke on the deck. It was just like ice rink slick. And just chunks and, the booze cruise. Good thinking there. Yeah. I'm looking at Carol's on the KQ Facebook post. By the way, 651-989-ROCK. You got a vacation disaster story for us. First trip to Disney for my 4-year-old. Ends up with flu, throwing up in the hotel. Sick the whole time. Dry heaving on the plane back home. On top of that, Dad, who was with us, tripped, fell face first on a curb in Magic Kingdom, chipped his teeth, bloody face. While Mickey Mouse was in the background on the parade, there's Dad bleeding out.
I've fallen.
Yeah. Or Nancy, who checked into their reserved hotel room in Anchorage at 3 a.m., opened the door, and there were people sleeping in their beds. Whoops. Welcome to your vacation. That's how that started.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
We all of us are dog owners. I mean, well, Zep, you're a dog granddad, I guess, technically speaking.
Yeah, right.
The rest of us, but we've all had dogs most of our whole lives, and I can look back on my life. I think I'm 9 dogs old now, in the grand scheme of things. Chauncey, I talk about him a lot. He's in the studio a lot. He's just a goof. If you had to say, well, what kind of dog is he? That's what I'd say. He's just a knucklehead. I don't know. He's funny. He's got some weird snot issues, but apparently researchers at the University of East London, which is, that's where the Cockney accent comes from. So I just picture a bunch of professors like, oh, this hurricane's only ever happened, isn't it? I just think about these horrible Cockney accents all over East London. But they've been studying dogs. They used an AI algorithm to go through 70,000 behavioral records of dogs. They have these lengthy records of how dogs behave, 70,000 of them, and then they're looking for common threads running through the breeds. And they found that all dogs can be classified into 5 groups, 5 personality types for all dogs.
All right.
Fascinating. Number one is this is one of the personality types: excitable / hyper attached. Excitable, hyper attached.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like every dog to me.
Kinda.
But it's one of the personality types. All right, so they would favor this personality type more than any other. Yeah, that sounds like a dog.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like super needy.
So, I don't know if it's needy as much as it's just like, where are you going? I'll go with you. What are you doing? Can I watch? Can I be there? And I, Chauncey's excitable and he's pretty attached. I mean, he doesn't like he's not the dog who that often. The only time he likes to be alone is when he's ready to go to sleep. I mean, he'll just literally, it's like 7:30 p.m. He'll just look at us like, what are you guys doing? I'm going up. Later, he'll lead the charge. Another type of dog, anxious / fearful. I've never had a dog like that, but I've certainly been around dogs that I would say they're just anxiety prone.
I don't know. It was just a mutt, and it was a buddy of mine, and it became awkward because then when he left town, I'd have to come up with a lie, surprise me. Hey, dude, I'm leaving town for the weekend. Oh, is it this weekend? Oh, because I have to drive to South Dakota and do surgery on my mother. Otherwise, I'd watch your dog for you. And the reason is this dog was so nervous and so jumpy. It was a rescue dog, so imagine its past had something to do with that. Or maybe it was just the personality type. But you'd be like, oh, no. Don't get up on that. And he would just start peeing all over everything. You'd be like, no, oh my God. No. And I mean, anytime you addressed the dog, talked to the dog, made eye contact with the dog, it would just start pissing like a water sprinkler out in the yard. One of those wacky water sprinklers. And that was a nervous dog.
I did actually have a nervous dog briefly. I rescued a dog years and years ago. Found a guy. He was gray with black spots. And he was just no leash, I'd seen him in the neighborhood for a few days, and I finally got him in. And he was very anxious, very nervous, but also very hungry, and was grateful. Like, once I gave him some food, He kind of trusted me. I gave him a bath. Turned out he wasn't gray. He was actually white with black spots. He was so filthy. The bathtub had that ring. I just couldn't get rid of it. It was like he literally ruined this rental. Thankfully it was just a rental apartment. But I named him Mort. I was just like, yeah, he looks like a Mort. Yeah. And I could not get him to settle down. In my mind, I was thinking, I'm going to keep him. He's going to be my guy. And then he did not get hit by a car. He hit a car. He ran into the side of a moving car. Once when I dropped the leash accidentally, and I was like, "Wait, I can't. I don't think I have what it takes to whatever this dog needs. I'm not the guy to provide it. I'm just a dude in a local band making pizzas late at night. I probably shouldn't have a dog right now."
We had a lab that was, nose to the ground. One of those were like, "Oh, he's going to be a good hunter. This lab's going to be a good hunter." But this lab had this thing where it did not look up, and it would run into it, just be running along in the field. All of a sudden, it just hit a stump, just headbutt a stump.
Really?
And then it'd yelp and whatever, and then get back on the trail. We've watched him run into the sides of cars and everything else. I'm like, dude, eyes up. Get your... he was so into the scent, I guess, that he just couldn't... Yeah, you got to have both. You got to have the nose and the eyeballs, it turns out. So, it turned out to be a great house dog. Wonderful. Love the kennel.
We had a Springer Spaniel, Rusty, the main dog of my child, like third grade till I was in 18 or 19.
Oh, the boyhood dog.
Yeah, he was the dog, Rusty, Springer Spaniel, and a very large Springer. He was like 55, 60 pounds, way bigger than the average one. And when he was young, we would bring him up. We would just, this is back in the day when the 70s were awesome. Mom, in the summer, I'm going to the pool. Okay. And then he would just tag along. No leash. Just a collar, and then we would walk into the pool, which is behind a fence, and then he would just chill, hang out, wait for us, or just walk back home, or just go out and, he'd disappear for hours at a time. We never knew, but he'd always make his way back home. But one day he got into the pool area, like the big, the little swimming pools, got the big chain link fence all the way around it. He got inside the fence, and then a bird flew over, and he started chasing the bird, as he was wont to do. And he was staring up, and he's chasing this bird in flight, thinking maybe I'll catch it. I don't know what he was thinking, but didn't notice that there was a large pool right in his way. And he running full stride, and suddenly he's airborne, and the look of confusion on his face as the ground disappeared because he was staring up at this bird. And he just hit the middle of that pool, and the lifeguard, good old Ronnie Staines, Gorman! Like he knew exactly whose dog it was. Yeah. And there was me and my brother got in trouble for that one. We're like, we didn't let him in. Someone else left the gate open. And it was a whole scene.
He's a Springer Spaniel, for crying out loud. He's hardwired to chase birds.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know why. He's thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do when I catch this thing, but I must chase it.
Yep.
And, right into the pool. Well, there you go. You got a free dog wash out
Another dog personality, aloof/predatory.
What? They seem to work against each other.
Aloof predatory, I guess. Right. That's a little weird one to me. When I think of an aloof dog, I think about like, what do you call it? Weimaraners. When you see one of those, they're just, or like a Rhodesian Ridgeback. There are certain dogs that all they care about is their owner, and they don't even notice other humans existing. You're like, oh man, he's beautiful. Can I pet him? And the dog's just like, I don't even see you. You're a hologram.
My aunt and uncle had a Weimaraner named Shadow, and they would go into a restaurant, and they'd leave him in the car, and when he had to go pee-pee, he would honk the horn.
Oh, really?
Really bright pup.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Very cool.
Did he, was he also good in the kitchen? Could he make an omelet? My God, that's amazing.
He was very skilled, yes.
How do you teach a dog to honk a horn to get out to pee?
Yeah,
I just love that you're in the restaurant and like, honey, you're going to get that. And he's out there laying on the horn. All right, I got
that's
it.
Really
People are looking
good.
around like, what in the hell? You'd think it was their kid. I think they're going out to let their kid pee.
Wow.
Honking the horn and that's crazy. I love that.
We flirt for 6 different reasons. Anybody want to argue this? First things first. Well, you just want to hook up. I think we all can get it. We're just having fun. That's one. Here's another one. We're exploring just to kind of figure out what it might be like to date the person we're flirting with. Here's another one. We're just trying to increase intimacy. Don't know about that. We're trying to boost our own self-esteem. Sure. That's 90% of the flirting, I think, is you're just trying to see if just trying to make yourself feel good that you still remember how to speak to somebody. Or here's the last one. We're trying to manipulate the other person.
Oh, and giving you a raise.
Something. Guys like to be direct. Women prefer open-ended questions. How about that? Men prefer straightforward lines like, you're cute, can I buy you a drink? Women prefer when a guy opens with a question like, hey, what team are you rooting for?
No, I prefer direct.
Yeah, I was curious
Get
about
to the
that.
point.
Really?
I don't have all day. I got stuff to do.
Don't want an interesting conversation. Just want to get it on.
Yeah, just
Right.
get
That's
to
not
do you
flirting.
like
That's
me or not.
negotiating. Yeah.
So you'd rather have a guy come right up and say, hey, can I buy you a drink? Let's
Yep.
get to know each other. You don't want to see a guy come up and go like, I couldn't help but notice those boots. Fantastic. Is that Italian leather? I mean, what?
No.
No. Okay, fair enough.
You just did it, man. You made her laugh. That's
Here's
what you
one.
do. Open
That's-
with a laugh, and you're halfway home.
Oh, heck yeah. I learned early on, with this nose, I better be funny. Men overestimate how interested women are. No kidding.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I mean, there's the studies that, over 50% of men think, yes, I could land a plane if need be. Of course we overestimate how interested women are.
Yeah. The best thing I often thought about dating, and I, dated for about 30 years of my adult life, was not very good at it, apparently, was that the best thing I had going for me was other guys. Guys are just so bad at,
Sure.
They just have no idea. You're in your own little bubble, and it's all about you. And women see through that pretty quickly. And every once in a while, they'll give you the pity date or something like that. But yeah, guys, just the things that dick pics alone prove that men don't know what the hell's going on.
That's very
Guys
true.
that do that, they just, she doesn't want to see it. She might get around to it eventually, but women aren't out there looking at that going, man, that's really gets me worked up. He's the one for me. Look at that wiener.
You can go really far in life by just shutting up and letting the dudes around you continue to talk.
Yeah. Simple question and let her talk, and you're on your way, brother.
Jeff Cesario always used to say, for people moving to Los Angeles, he goes, if you just simply think before you answer a question, take 2 seconds and look like, that's a good question. Let me think about that. He goes, if you do that in L.A., within a year, you can run a cult. People will go like, this guy's got some deep insight. There's something special about this guy.
True.
He goes, just pause before you speak. That's all it takes out here. That's literally all it takes. Women, on the opposite, by the way, they underestimate how interested a man might be in them. So you've got the complete. Women will often not even realize. I'm just going off this study. These scientists, doctors come up with, not doctors, but like university professors who look into this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Women won't even realize the guy's flirting because they just assume, there's no way he'd be interested in me. They're just being nice.
I don't know. I asked Maria out like 5 times, and then finally she's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yes. Every time I've asked you to go out with me, I've been serious." She said, "Oh, I didn't think you were being serious." I'm like, "Nope. When a guy asks to go out, he's being 100% serious. It's never a joke. Never now. No, I was just kidding around. I don't want to go out with you."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, women. I always just thought it was the hard to catch thing that they had going on. I'm like,
how did you ask,
work for it.
though? Was it like, we should get together sometime?
Well, first time out, dick pic. Right,
of
there.
course. There you go.
I'm like, need I say more? How's that for an invitation, right? Just follow it right back to me. I don't
Crocs.
know. No, I did it. I mean, first of all, we met on Match. So there was a whole thing there. That was the thing I kind of gave her grief about. I'm like, we're on Match.com, where you ask people out. Oh, yeah, I guess. But no, not I guess. This isn't a casual conversation on the light rail, So I think I asked in, I don't know, a fairly gentlemanlike way. I wasn't brutish about it, like, hey, we should hook up or something like that. But, she just wasn't buying it.
Guys tend not to flirt with the most beautiful woman in the room. They generally, because they're intimidated. You see a lot of
that must be why guys never flirt with me.
That's exactly right.
You're
They're scared to
intimidating
death.
as hell.
Generally, what guys are looking for, and I think this checks out. Guys tend to flirt with a woman who makes direct eye contact. Whoever's making the most eye contact, that's going to be. It's that simple. Like
she looked at me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
all it takes. I mean, all of this adds up to guys are just toddlers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just do this. Just stare at a dog for a second. That dog will what? Make eye contact? Huh?
Yeah.
Are you looking at me? Jump up and come right to you.
Sure.
Guys are no different.
That's very true. I definitely responded always to, like, in a situation, if all I was looking for was someone who wasn't trying to be. I was guilty of this, and then but at a certain age, everyone's just too cool. Everyone's so cynical. Everyone's over it. And I can remember very specifically moments where I'd be chatting with somebody and suddenly realize, like, oh, we're just actually talking. And then as soon as I would remove even a thought of, let's see where this goes, then all of a sudden I wanted it to go somewhere. I was never good at the playing the game. In fact, I was abjectly horrible at it because I just, I'm like, but I had friends. I did have male friends dudes that would just walk into a room and within 10 minutes, like, a woman is so engrossed in whatever their story they're weaving, and I'd be like, this guy's boring as hell. What's happening? He has no good stories. He's not funny. All I had was a bit of a sense of humor and height. That's what I had going for me.
Yeah, the height thing. Yeah, that works for you. Women like the tall guys, for sure.
That was it. And then of course this voice, this gift from the gods. I think
yes.
I think I sense in you a subtle ennui. What's wrong? You can tell me. Nah,
Stop it.
not my. But no,
You stop it.
Pull out a pipe, light it up.
Candace, you're kind of getting turned on, aren't you?
No, no.
She's conflicted. She doesn't want to feel this way about a coworker. What's happening?
It's the way he said ennui.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock 92 KQRS.
Weird things people have brought into the emergency room with them. I got to go to the ER. I better bring this along. And a guy walked into an ER with his junk stuck into the vacuum end of a shop vac. And what he said was, I was trying to remove a kidney stone.
Oh, okay. Now, from what I've heard of kidney stones, they're so painful that you might resort to something like that, but I don't believe it.
Yeah, I think you can give yourself the Heimlich on the back of a chair. You always see that dialogue thing. I feel like if I had a kidney stone, I would ask someone to shoot me with a cannonball, like in that old black and white video of the guy taking the cannonball to the gun. Just do something to force this thing out. And so, to your point, Zepp, it's so bad. I might look at a shop vac and go, hell, give it a try.
Could I get a bee to sting my eyeball? Yeah, no, maybe something like that.
Man,
I will never make it through if that happens to me, you guys.
No?
I can't imagine. I mean, literally, that's the worst thing I can ever think of happening.
Yeah, it's a good buddy of mine.
You haven't watched American Nightmare.
A good buddy of mine who's a great drummer in a great band, Britt Turner from Blackberry Smoke. I'm not talking out of school. He boarded a flight, a red eye from Las Vegas to Atlanta about 10 years ago. And right as the plane's taking off, he's like, I kind of don't feel good. I'm a little nauseous all of a sudden. And within like 30 minutes, it went from kind of nauseous and sweaty to full on, here comes a kidney stone, which he'd never experienced. And apparently having that at 30,000 feet is a whole other set of circumstances.
Oh, that's horrible.
But he's a great guy and a tough guy, and he's been through a lot. And he was just like, there's no describing that pain. Like, it's just a whole nother level.
And then they show them to you often. I know a buddy that over there at Abbott, and he went in and they bring it out, and it's a grain of sand. And he's like, that is what made me cry like a little baby.
Well, hey, man,
and
I've got
my mommy was a grain of sand.
I have the what do you call the wheels? The training wheels on a bicycle. I had training wheels kidney stone, which is called gout. It's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah. All right.
I got a couple years ago, or a year and a half ago, I got gout. And that's like the joint of your big toe is where that hits you. And what it is it's a tiny microscopic little crystal of uric acid gets loose in your bloodstream, and it hits the joint in your toe. That's just where it gets caught. And I woke up at 5 a.m. from a deep sleep with the idea that someone had shoved a sword through my foot. Like that, and it hits like that quick, just ding. And I woke up going, what just happened? I mean, it's horrific. And when I was diagnosed and discovered what it was and learned about what that could be, the guy said, this is what a kidney stone is. And then I imagined that pain that's in my foot going into my urethra and suddenly realized, no, God, I will do anything to never experience that.
Oh, my legs are clenched together tight right now.
By the way, so a guy did walk into an ER attached to a shop vac. You know what's pretty common is people show up at ERs holding the snake that just bit them.
Oh,
Which is actually, I mean, I get that. Like,
all right.
You want proof. I mean, you could just take a photo of it. But if a snake bites me, if I don't die from shock because I have a snake issue to begin with, I could see myself just grabbing that thing and just please make sure this is either venomous or not.
Wouldn't you kill it first, though, before you brought the venomous snake that just bit you into the ER? I'm saying the guy brought in the live snake to bite everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and feel free to kill it. I think they can still identify the dead snake.
Here's a great one. A drunk guy went to the ER. He had hurt himself, and he laid down on the floor, and an onion rolled out of his pocket. I just like that. What is that? A whole onion.
You never know when you might need one.
My grandpa always said, if you're going to drink, make sure you have an onion.
I was just happy to see
What does that even mean?
A half-eaten raw chicken. I guess we know why they were probably in the emergency room. A half-eaten raw chicken, brought it into the ER with him.
Oh, my God.
All right.
I knew a guy years and years ago who I watched a drunk guy eat frozen chicken. I mean, he was drunk and hungry, and there was no food in the apartment, and he opened the freezer, and there was frozen chicken drumsticks, and he just started eating them, and we were like, okay, we were like, dude, that's not been cooked. He's like, it doesn't matter, it's frozen.
It's like a popsicle, I guess.
What's what he was looking at it like. And for the record, did not get sick. I mean, he was drunk as he was sick from a hangover the next day. Well, he didn't get sick that we knew from the. I mean, he didn't have to go to the ER. Put it that way.
Well, maybe because it was frozen. Maybe that's went the other way with it. If you can't cook it to a certain temperature for so long, then go ahead and go with the chicken popsicle.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, there's a lot of people apparently bring animals to the ER with them, emotional support animals.
Oh, comfort.
All right.
Yeah, no, come on, stop.
Yeah, stop it.
If you're going to the ER, you shouldn't have time to think about what do I want to bring. The ER is for E, as in emergency, as in get there quick. Don't think about well, hang on, I better grab my lucky socks.
Bring a coloring book.
And I'd put it, when we took them in to stitch them up, I'd put their animal to sleep. That'll teach them. What about a 45-pound electric meat grinder? Why would someone bring that into an ER?
A 45-pound meat grinder?
Yeah, because the guy's hand was stuck in it.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Are you pushing? You don't. I was in an ER, broke my collarbone, skiing up in the UP up there, and we went. Was it Ashland? I think we went back into the clinic, and I'm sitting there in the ER. And they're like, well, you're going to have to wait a minute before we bring you in. We have another emergency just coming in. It's a small little clinic. And I'm thinking, I do have a broken bone, but whatever. And just about 1 minute later, a guy walks past the hallway. I'm in the waiting room there, and he has a big frickin' spiked nail sticking straight out of the top of his head. I went, yeah, he gets to go before me. I'll just watch. It was March Madness, so I was watching some basketball there in the way. I'm like, he goes first, get the nail out of the head. I assume he's all right. I don't know. I didn't follow up with him.
When I went to the ER Memorial Day 1986, I had not one but two broken arms. Okay, it was a freak basketball injury. I've told the story before here on the show. And I walk into the emergency room in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Not a big town, but not a small. It's a large town. It's not a city, but it's a big sized town. 60,000 people. So I walk into the ER, and again, it's Memorial Day, and it's like 6 p.m., and there are 3, 4, maybe 5 people in front of me, all of whom have been burned badly by grilling mishaps on Memorial Day. Drunk, grilling, burned. And I'm like, and I have my left elbow and my right wrist are both just on, feeling like they're on fire. They're both broken, but I'm looking around. I'm like, no, get that guy in there first. I was just like, I can't. Broken arms is nothing. These guys are just torched and wasted, drunk, and in pain. And they weren't all from the same cookout. It wasn't one grill didn't explode. No, this is completely unrelated. And when I finally was back, backstage, I almost said, when I was back in the area, getting dealt with, and I was like, I mean, what's going on back there? And the guy goes, oh, man, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July. It's unbelievable around here. I'm like, wow.
That's like an American tradition, isn't it?
Sure
Going
it
to
is.
the ER, drunked up and burned from the barbecue.
What if they all got to be friends? It's like,
sure-
I was making bratwurst.
Yeah, they're like,
Well,
well, let's get together on 4th of July, because then we'll have fireworks, too. That'd be better.
The rest of the family's back home just eating the potato salad because the meat didn't get cooked. How about this? You're going into the ER. We know that's the emergency room. Just you're going in, they're going to patch you together and get you on your way. Someone brought in Christmas lights. Why? So they could string them up above their bed.
Oh,
Are you
nice.
staying for the season?
Oh,
or
my God.
What's going on there? Brought in your Christmas lights to the ER. String them up over the bed. All right, that's
Way
that's
too
pretty
much.
bizarre.
Way too much thinking. I get it if you bring like a stick of incense. I just like the way this smells. Makes me feel like I'm home. Christmas lights, come on, man.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Steve Gorman, this is the KQ Morning Show. I've never had a vanity plate. I've never understood the vanity plate. I will never, ever have one for really one overwhelming, overarching, predominant reason. And that's because if I cut someone off or if I drive like an idiot, I don't want anybody around me to absolutely then know
Yeah.
it is me the next time they see me.
Yeah.
When you get into a normal life, as we all do, you get a job. You're driving the same thing every day. You're driving home the same way every day. I notice, like when I would take the kids to school, you see a lot of the same cars, which makes sense. The same people are getting out at the same time every day. And I would recognize cars without the vanity plate. I would actually just recognize the regular license plate. Not consciously, but you would be like, oh, I know I've seen that car before. Or a bumper sticker certainly does that. There's a car in this neighborhood right near KQ. I've seen it several times, and it's a bumper sticker that says it just basically it's a slur, but it says only I can't even remember. It's something about the only kind of cop that would ever pull me over for speeding must be a. It's something only a fag would pull me over. It's something weird like that. But I've seen it a few times, and I'm like, wow, that's quite a commitment. Because now I see that car. It's always like the same guy. It could just be someone who's got a weird sense of humor, but I just assume you're a douchebag driving that car. And I didn't want people to assume I was a douchebag because if I cut you off in traffic, the next time you see that kind of car, I don't want you to know it's me.
Right.
Whereas the vanity plate, forget it. If you have a vanity plate, you're just marked. You're going to hear about it.
How many people are you pissing off out there?
I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's just not my thing, But I did see one. First of all, there was a Zepp man, Zeppman,
Yeah.
that was cruising around, right? I would see it all the time.
Your biggest fan.
He's the only cool guy with a vanity plate.
Yeah, right. And it has nothing to do with me. But I did see one once. It was blood. Blood. The whole word just blood. And I
Wow.
thought, okay, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that one. I mean, I'm hoping it's like a doctor and wasn't some psycho. But, I just never got into it. And then just trying to come up with something clever by the time you come up with it and say it in your head a couple of times, it suddenly doesn't sound so clever.
I think it would be awkward, too. I imagine being at the DMV and filling out the form, like, I'd like to get a vanity plate, please. And I immediately assume the person behind the counter is like, oh, this will be good. Like, you're just and I know the person doing it couldn't possibly care less, but in my mind, they would just be like, let's see what this douchebag comes up with.
I would like ointment one.
Ointment, yes. We got to get one of those words on there. Crevice or moist or secretion. I forget what some of the other ones were.
Jeez.
By the way, I just way too late for this, but just on the fly, I know we've got a caller. Just sent Minnesota's rejected license plates for 2023. Just sent that over.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
well, then we got plenty to get into. Candace, we have a caller right now?
Mary from Excelsior.
Mary, good morning.
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
So my brother, while water skiing, had his thumb pulled off.
What?
So he had one that said one thumb. He deserved doing that one. That was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah,
He was
that's-
a big old tough carpenter.
Okay.
Big
He gets a high
Norm.
4 for that one.
Okay, hold on. Your brother was water skiing and he lost a thumb?
Yes.
Ouch.
Good
Got
Lord.
yanked.
It got pulled off.
Yeah, the rope got wrapped around it, right?
Yeah.
Tow rope? Yeah.
And
Ouch.
so
Yeah.
did he then have a prosthetic, like an attachable and detachable thumb?
Nah, he was a big carpenter. He didn't give a shit. He just... Oh, sorry.
That's quite all right.
All right.
No need to apologize for being fantastic. That is, wow, that's amazing. Because but that's, I would think as a carpenter, he would want that something to use as in the place of a thumb. But I guess, man, that's a tough guy. So one thumb. So it was the number one followed by the word thumb, I guess.
Yes, it's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Thank you for the call. That's one tough.
Take care, guys.
That one thumb is one tough sumbitch, is what he is.
Ouch, just yanked off out of waters. Yeah, keep that slack. No slack in the rope. That might be the driver of the boat's fault right there. Scott Lane, my buddy, just texted me. This is a great one. In Minneapolis, saw a vanity plate on a Lamborghini. It said, janitor. On a Lamborghini.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it. This reminds me. The Louisville Cardinals basketball team in 1980 were the NCAA champs. Darrell Griffith, the Doctors of Dunk.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember that.
Sure.
Power forward Wiley Brown on that national championship team did not have a thumb on one hand. He had a thumb that he would attach for games. Yeah, a guy without a thumb on his hand playing basketball, Wiley Brown.
Snap it on?
I haven't thought about Wiley Brown in 40 years.
Wow.
Why do I remember that? What is wrong with me? Candace, do we have another caller?
Yes.
What do we got here?
Aaron from Edina.
Aaron, what's up?
Hey, man, I just wanted to say I'm pretty sure Zepman is actually a rep for the chemical company.
Oh, well, it's got two P's, though. Zeppman, right, Candace? Didn't it have the two P's?
I don't know.
And
I don't know now.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think maybe it is a rep for Zepman. I know people will bring in relation to the chemical company. I wish.
Oh, there's only one T because I posted in 2018 on my way to see Robert Plant. I was driving behind him.
I stand corrected, as usual.
Spaceman.
Well, there could
Well,
be.
that takes a lot of the fun out of it.
Wow.
He's just pimping chemicals.
Yeah, I'm a wet blanket.
No. That's I'm glad to be corrected out there. He's out there going, I hate Led Zeppelin. Why are they saying this on the radio? Of course, he wouldn't be listening to KQ, but.
Wow, Candace, you were on your way to see Robert. Sorry, I'm cutting you off, Aaron. Candace, you were driving to Robert Plant when you saw the Zepman license plate?
Yeah, I'm gonna
great.
I'll repost it in the KQ Facebook,
Yeah,
but it
right
was magical. I think he does love. I posted though, and I think he did reach out to us, and I think he does love Led Zeppelin too. So.
Wow,
And chemicals.
I would hope. Yeah. There was a mom at our kid's school who drove a big SUV, and she had a license plate. I was behind it at school one day, and I laughed, and I was like, "That must just be random." And it was EM50. The Stripes Urban Assault Vehicle.
Oh. Yeah. It did ring a bell.
That's funny.
I saw it. I
that's
immediately knew,
phenomenal.
and so I imagine seeing a dude my age who was 15 when Stripes came out, and it was a woman, and I was like, huh. And then the next time I saw her, I went up. I said, hey, do you have the EM50 car? She goes, yeah. And I go, that's your license plate? And she goes, yeah. Why? I go, well, I just saw the plate urban assault vehicle. And she goes, you're the first person that's ever known what that was.
That's cool.
And I go,
yeah.
she goes, it's my favorite movie of all time. And I was like, wow. And she's like an attorney, dressed like in a business suit. I was like, I did not see that coming at all.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Just a big Stripes fan.
There's
Here's
a person
one
I knew in the industry who her license plate said "on air." Oh, really?
There, yeah.
You said something about the guy in the Ferrari or who had the janitor
Lamborghini
plate
with
or Lamborghini.
janitor.
I remember seeing an article about Michael Jordan in like Sports Illustrated, and he had a Ferrari, and the license plate was MJ, and I was like, really? You need that? You just like anyone in Chicago doesn't recognize that. First they see the car, and then they're like, no one sees a Ferrari in 1991 in Chicago and goes, that guy looks like Jordan. Do you think it's him?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Everybody knows who you are, dude.
Yeah. Well,
Abe Roman, the Sausage King.
That's
just
exactly
run
right.
with it. Here's one that I love that was not allowed, not surprisingly, in Minnesota in the last year. FKNDER. FKN Deer.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Yeah.
F and deer.
Oh,
Should
I
be
like
on a
it.
car. Yeah, that person's hit one or two, I think, probably.
I imagine so. There's a few that were, there's a whole list of these that didn't make it through. Boink. B-O. Here's the words. Back to words we don't like. Boink. This is one from British Columbia. Hogasm. Hogasm. Someone wanted that on their plate. See, that's the guy. I want to be the DMV employee who's like, you got your form filled out, sir? Let me take a look at that. That's just to clarify that. It's Hogasm.
Maybe it was a pig farmer.
Could have been.
Hogasm.
Hogasm. Hogasm. Could have.
Hogasm, yeah.
As hoggy as I want to be. You have a text, Tony?
Yeah, it says if one gets a vanity plate, it has to be something funny. Don't be douchey like the one I've seen before. Too hot for you. Pulled up beside them in a light, and they were nothing special.
I mean, I kind of want to just go get a rental car and ram into them and pay the deductible and be done with it.
Yeah.
Minnesota state officials were also not persuaded by another driver's argument that G-Spot was a road-appropriate reference to an auto shop specializing in customizing GMC trucks. Wow. Reach in there. G-Spot. No.
How about this one was rejected? YSOFCR. Like, yes, officer.
Well, that's funny.
What's wrong with that one?
I don't know. Any reference to anything, please. Maybe they
651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. If you want to share a thought with us, feel free to call and or text. By the way, I almost forgot. The follow-up to the Michael Jordan vanity plate story was a couple years later. There was an article on Scottie Pippen, and you can look these up. I'm not making this up. He also had a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, and Scottie Pippen's license plate was DA space PIP. DePip. I was like, oh my God, we know it's you. Two of the most. There's no mistaking either of those gentlemen. Like, they both have such a unique look, and they're iconic, especially Jordan, but even Pippen in his own way. And it's always like, no, God, dude, we know that's you. Anyway, Candace, we have another call. Yes or no?
Yes, we have DK from Bethel.
DK, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Great. What do you got for us?
Perfect. Well, I had two of them. The first one is absolutely hilarious. Right after the Two Live Crew album came out, they had a song called LGBNAF, if any of you guys know that. And it's Let's Get Buck Naked and F.
Right.
So I shortly after saw that license plate, I swear to you, on 494, I was DJing at Alligators nightclub. I pulled out. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. They blew that one by somebody.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, then the other one, I was doing security and stuff too, and I've always considered myself an okay-looking guy. This may sound like I'm cocky that way, but not. But I was getting ready to go to work one night, cummerbund, tuxedo tie, and everything, and I told my girlfriend at the time, which is now my wife, I said, I look way hot. So she got me those plates for my Corvette back then. Well, shortly after, I was driving down 694 and thinking, my plates are pretty cool, but people probably think I'm kind of arrogant, blah, blah, blah. Here's this gorgeous Corvette coming up in my rearview mirror, and this young lady passes me, and her plates were BLUIS, Blue Eyes.
Oh, sorry, I was going somewhere else there for a second.
And I went, she's beautiful. Me and my plates, we just suck. That's all.
Hey, you worked at DK. Were you DJing at Alligators back in the late 90s?
Absolutely. I was their house DJ for about 15 years down there. I'm over on another country radio station in the cities now, just doing evenings.
Gotcha. Well, you and I may have been in the same club at the same time. I might have been there. I used to do some gigs at Alligators, but that brings back. Is it still there, Alligators?
No, they had new ownership, and they ran it, I want to say, 5-6 years, and then it eventually turned into a daycare.
Oh, well, it kind of was at the time, too. All right, DK, thanks, man.
Appreciate that, DK. One more quick one, Candace. Who we got? Let's see.
Steve.
How do you spell that?
Steve from Inver Grove Heights.
Hey, Steve. How are you, brother?
Good. My buddy had one. He had cancer, and he lost a nut. So he got a custom plate that said number one, not left. And everybody laughed. Everybody who knew him loved it.
Oh, man.
So, that's great.
Sorry about my voice. I'm recovering from COVID, but anyway.
Oh, man, still
better.
out there. All right.
No,
Yeah, feel
right
better.
I am.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. We appreciate it. If we ever see one nut left, we'll thank you, brother. I mean, it's your
All
friend. We
right,
know it's
thank
not
you.
It's your buddy, but I'm just saying. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Oh, yeah, you said the kids in the hall skit about the doors. But speaking of which, we were talking about Fargo Season 5. Dave Foley, large part. Dave Foley of the Kids in the Hall plays the big high-powered attorney in Fargo Season 5.
Oh, all right.
Danish Graves is his name. Yeah, so it's great to see old Dave Foley out there. And then, but in that skit, if you remember, it's a record store skit. And Kevin McDonald walks in, and Bruce McCullough's the snotty record clerk. Right. And he goes, yeah, do you have any, he's asking for records, and he said something about, he goes, yeah, do you have I don't remember what band. He says, so-and-so's greatest hits. And the response is, greatest hits albums are for housewives and lawyers. Which is just both profound and means nothing at the same time. It was great. Yeah. That's the very famous skit where he says, well, do you have the new Depeche Mode? And the clerk, Bruce, goes, yeah, but it sucks.
Yeah, that's right.
And in 1991, the Kids in the Hall were doing their first tour after the show had kind of become a hit on HBO. And they came to Atlanta, Georgia. And I was home on a break from tour, and couldn't believe the Kids in the Hall were playing on tour, because I had become, and my whole band, the Black Crowes at that time, we were obsessed with the Kids in the Hall. And so I go down to this little theater in Atlanta to go see the kids, and my wife, we were just dating then, and our buddy Mac. So me, Rosemary, and Mac, the three of us get in. We're sitting there, and the people who are there are all like, you can tell it's all diehards. It's still like a cult thing at that time. And they come out and they're doing the skits. And I'm just like in heaven. I'm like, I can't believe these guys are right in front of me. This is the funniest show in forever. And they do the record store skit. And as soon as the store opens, or the scene opens, everybody in the crowd cheers because everyone loves the skit. And Kevin walks up and he goes, yes, do you have the new, and because they were in Atlanta and we were the it band at the moment, he goes, do you have the new Black Crowes record? Yeah. And the whole place goes, boo!
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I was like, oh my God, the local backlash is at its greatest moment ever. And and they both looked out to the audience with shock on their face. And Bruce goes, yeah, but it sucks. And the place goes, yeah! Like,
erupts.
Blew the roof off the place. And I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, this is so funny, man. And so after the show, I knew the guy that ran the joint, and I said, hey, can I go back and say? I goes, yeah, go ahead. Like, there's no one back there with them. And so we walk backstage. I just knock on the door, and of course I hear, come on in, just a friendly Canadian, sure, whoever that is, we don't care. And I open the door, and just the five guys. They're just sitting there. And I'm like looking at them like they're the new Monty Python, which they kind of were, you know. Yeah. And I go, hey, guys, I just wanted to say hi and just tell you, like, I'm in a band and we're on the road and we watch the show. We really love it. And he goes, oh, what's the band called? And I go, I'm in the Black Crowes. And they all go immediately, oh, my God, we're so sorry. We put the name in. I can't believe everybody booed. Like, they were really upset.
The Canadians.
And,
Yeah.
and I said, no, it's hilarious. I go, everyone hates us now because we're not, we made it, so we're the enemy of the local scene. And they were laughing. And then Kevin walked over and there was a boombox in the room. He goes, look. And he hits eject and the cassette comes out and it was our first album. He goes, we listen to this every night before the shows. It gets us fired up. They were all really into our record. And that was literally the highlight. I've never felt better than at that moment to be in a band. I was like, oh my God, the kids in the hall like our record.
What a great
It was
tale.
great.
Yeah.
And we then took the five of them and Norm Hiscock, their lead writer. So me, Rosemary, and Mac take the six kids in the hall out to my favorite old stomping ground bar, the late night bar where we always were for years and years. And we had a great night right up until Bruce got arrested and went to jail.
What?
What did he get arrested for?
Because we were sitting around throwing back, having a great night. And at some point, he just stood up and goes, I got to go to bed. I'm drunk. I got to get out of here. And we said, okay. And I said, if you walk out the front door, there's usually an off-duty cop right there, but he can get you a cab like in 2 seconds. Just go get a taxi. Hey, guys, all right. And he walks out the front door, and we all said goodnight. No one thinks anything's what could go wrong? The door's right there. And he walks out the door and 90 seconds later we see flashing blue lights. And we're like, what in the hell's going on? And he walked out, looked at the off-duty cop and said, I need a taxi. And the guy said, okay, give me a couple minutes. And then Bruce took 3 steps and then just decided to pee on the sidewalk right there.
Oh, Bruce.
Well,
I got to do this right here, right now. And so he's just urinating in the middle of a sidewalk. That's how drunk he was. And the cop, of course, had another buddy who was on duty right around the corner, gave him the bat signal, and suddenly we walked outside, and he was literally in handcuffs.
Wow, for peeing on a sidewalk outside a dive bar. Come on.
We were like, hey, welcome to Atlanta. I felt pretty bad. I was like, I've never seen that happen before. And his friends in the comedy troupe, they weren't sweating it. They thought it was absolutely hilarious. They were like, way to go.
You bet, man.
Rock and
Although,
roll. Oh, man.
if a buddy stands up at the bar and says, I'm really drunk, I got to go, you almost need to follow him, because, I mean, he just peed on the sidewalk. If anybody's go out and do some weird things, maybe just go ahead and someone might escort him to a safe ride. But, that's...
Yeah, hindsight being what it is, he should have. One of us should have tagged along. I felt bad about it.
You get a ticket for that? No big deal.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I hear people say things a lot here in Minnesota that I get a little confused by, and then I've said things to people here that have confused them. I say on occasion, I don't think of myself. Now, I've lived in the South more years of my life than I haven't, but because I was born in Michigan and then from there went to Baltimore before hitting Kentucky, I think of myself as a Southerner by choice for the most of my life, but not a Southerner, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
For instance, when I came to Minnesota and I moved up here, people down south were freaking out. It didn't seem like that big a deal to me. Like I know people who were like, man, I don't know how you can do it up there, man. It's too cold, man. That's a whole situation up there, man. I don't even know. It's like another planet, man. And yeah, I guess it is, but I don't know. It's totally normal to me. I've felt at home since I got here. But I do still say things and I get reactions. And I say, and I hear myself say things that I never thought twice about till I got to Minnesota. But I will say fixing to. Now I'm fixing to get that taken care of. And then I hear it up here. I would never think twice about saying that until I got to Minnesota. But I've said that and I watch people's reaction. Like, I can see them going, he's fixing to. What, fixing to? Yeah, I'm fixing to take care of that. Let me get on that. I'm fixing to call him back. And I'm like, oh, my God, I sound like I'm on Mayberry RFD all of a sudden.
I like that.
That's a good one. I will flat out throw a bless your heart out there with the best of them, which is, of course, what I also say a lot. I don't know if this is, but my version of that is to say, oh, honey. Which is, it's tough, isn't it, to think hard like that when I see someone just being a complete numbskull.
Yeah,
they
love that.
Here?
What's that?
The equivalent here to when you say, bless your heart, it's kind of condescending in a way.
It's entirely condescending.
Yeah, and the equivalent here is when people say, that's different. You ask them, what do you think about something? And they go, it's different.
Oh, okay.
Good for you.
I like that. Yeah, good for you. I like that one. Plum. There are things that I used to say kind of to be funny, but then you start saying them. But I'm plum tuckered out. Like plum means just completely, like, oh yeah, no, that dude's plum crazy. He's plum out of his mind. The one that I hear myself say this too is, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. Yeah. Instead of just telling you what, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to tell you what.
Right?
Yeah, that's always a pretty good one. There's a few that my favorite Southern for being drunk is, oh man, he was tore slap up. Tore slap up.
I like that.
I heard someone say that once, and I was like, that was a North Carolina thing, and I was like, oh my God, tore slap up. That's great.
Yeah, we had a guy in the Army. He was from Georgia. Sykes was the last name, so we called him Psycho, of course. But he was, what was it? He was so cheap he wouldn't give it a nickel to Jesus for riding a bicycle. He had all these weird Southern things. We thought he was like Samuel Clemens or something, He was just, I'm so poor I can't afford to pay attention. But it was just, when they say it, it can't sound smart in a Southern accent. You cannot sound intelligent with a Southern accent.
So, I saw one thing. Someone said what people, like, oh, you ever say if the creek don't rise? Meaning like, I'll be there unless something crazy happens. Well, if a creek don't rise. And I'd never heard that one before. And I was like, that's pretty, I would have totally been using that one over all these years. Yeah, although it also sounds like a band outtake. It sounds like and if the creek don't rise. I could just hear the band working that one into a song.
Yeah.
The other Southern thing, I definitely don't hear it up here, is people they'll pluralize something that's not plural, or they will take away the S at the, like someone will say like, well, he's got 57 cents in his pocket instead of cents. His change was 57 cents. And then the other one is, and we used to get this a lot in my old band, the Black Crowes, where people, hey man, you in Black Crow? And I'd be like, no, in the Black Crows. Hey man, that guy's in Black Crow over there.
The former U of M basketball coach, Clem Haskins, used to do that. He would drop the S or add an S.
Sure.
Even with his own name, he'd say Clem Haskins.
Clem Haskins, my buddy, my guy.
Yeah.
I worked his basketball camps back in the day.
Right.
Clem was. I have a photo from this past weekend of my brother's granddaughter. So my grandniece, I guess. Wait, hang on. Yeah, my niece's daughter, two of my grandnieces with Clem Haskins down in Bowling Green, Kentucky over the weekend.
Yes.
Clem the Gem, still a big deal at Western Kentucky these days. Here's the one in Minnesota that blows my mind. I heard it yesterday. I've heard this more times than I can count, and every time it blows my mind. Buying something at a store, could be the grocery store, could be the record store, and it's this. Did you want a bag at all?
Yes.
Did you want a bag at all? I've heard that 100 times.
I say
and
stuff
every
like that.
time I think, well, okay, when? Because did implies past tense.
Good point.
So first of all,
is that what you say back to them?
First of all, do I want a bag? Okay, now this is what I think every time. When are we talking about? I'm here right now. And the other one is, did you want a bag at all? I'm like, no, some.
Oh, funny.
I do want a
Just
bag
little bit.
some. Just give me a little bit of a bag.
Yeah.
Did you want a bag at all? It's no big deal, but it's just the funny. I can't help but break that down every time I hear it.
Here's the one
I
about-
say stuff like that.
You say stuff like that?
I also say if I'll be like, are you trying to hang out today, or are you trying to do that, instead of just like, do you want to do that?
Are you trying to? That's really funny.
I feel like I've gotten made fun of for that on the show
And
before.
with good reason. I
Here's the
think
one
so.
that bothers me. And people, they leave it sitting there. They go like, you going to head up north this weekend, or?
That's
There's,
good.
and
Yeah.
there's no or.
That's pretty solid.
Or what?
Yeah,
Or what? Yeah, I say that too.
That's the yeah, no thing. Yeah, no is no. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no.
yeah is yeah.
You trying to
Or-
go out or what?
Yeah.
I say that a lot.
You gonna head up north, or do I have to bitch slap you? That could go in a lot of different directions. The other one, of course, we've talked about this. Ope, I've heard that a lot.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Ope, you know, I've thrown out an Ope or two and not had people raise eyebrows. They think I'm a local. It's great.
Yeah.
that's the way I'm just working my way in. I'm brewbakering this whole thing. You know, I'm just slowly. You know, you think I'm one thing, but I'm really going to be the other. What the other one is good is let me squeeze right past you. Right.
Oh
past
yeah.
you.
Oh, I started use. I use that all the here. Let me just squeeze past you. Let me sneak peek.
Yep.
Sneak past you here.
Yeah.
And you know where that got confusing, or where it just stopped the moment, was when we were in England this past year. Let me squeeze right past you. Can I help you? No, I'm just squeeze. Excuse me.
What?
Just excuse me. You know what? I'm just going through. I shouldn't even be stopping here. We should have passed each other already by now. But that one stopped. It was like a conversation I was starting with them, I guess.
I'm going to sneak by you
Weird.
here.
I'm going to sneak right past you here. Do you need some help?
What's the
No,
other?
no. I'm not being very sneaky, am I?
Not so much. Not so much. What's O for cute? O for
For
cute.
cute.
Oh, for cute.
What
There's
is that?
something that women with gray hair in Minnesota say, I guess.
Something that's darling.
Yeah.
Oh, for cute.
Oh, for cute.
For?
Yeah.
That's what I
For-
mean.
Yeah.
Like, instead of, you could
For.
just go, oh, that's cute, or oh, cute, oh,
No.
for cute.
Oh, it's kind of like bless your heart down south, I think, a little bit. Bless your heart. Oh, for
Okay.
cute. You know,
Yeah.
I think, oh, that's too cute. Oh, what a sweet thing to do.
What in Sam Hell? What does that mean?
That's I don't know. My dad loved that one.
That's a
What
good
in
one.
Sam? I was like, what in Sam Hill?
I think
he thought he was swearing.
Yeah, what in tarnation is right there with that
Yeah.
one, too. Those are both sound like good, solid Yosemite Sams. You know. Well, yeah, heck yeah.
Who licked the red off your candy? I just saw that on a list of
Wait,
Southern sayings.
hold on. What?
Who licked the red off your candy?
No, that's a new one to me. That's pretty strong,
I
though.
don't like that at all.
I kind of like that. Who licked the red off your can? You're certainly going to get someone's attention if you say that.
What about kiss my go to hell?
That's pretty great as well. Wow.
Butter my butt and call me a biscuit?
Don't know that one.
That's just a fetish, really.
Hissy fit. I didn't know that was a Southern. I thought that everyone said that, but that's kind of a Southern thing. Like he threw a hissy fit.
Yeah, right.
You know the REM song "Losing My Religion." That was a real. That's just when someone's. You know, I had heard that a couple times and not really ever filed it away. When that song came out and it was huge, I was like, oh wait, who was that? And it was one kid that I went to school with. His mom said that, like, oh, I done lost my religion on that one. You know, it was like, huh. And then they came back. I was like, yeah, that was one I'd only heard a few times.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I think losing my religion is just losing your cool. It's like I turned around and I cussed him up and down the street. You know, it's like you finally go off on somebody. I believe is what that was all about.
Oh,
Yeah.
At our house, it was a lecture from Mom about what's wrong with this country. Nobody goes to church anymore. I'm like, Mom, it's an REM song. Let it go. I think he's just trying to tell the world he's gay. Relax. What about Ish? Have you gotten the Ish yet?
Oh, yeah.
You're in Minnesota.
Ishta.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah,
what's that?
It comes from Ishta, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Norwegian or something.
Like yuck or ich.
Ish. Gross.
Really?
Ish.
Ish.
Oh yeah, you haven't
yeah.
got the Ish yet? Oh, that's a big one. Ish.
Fair enough. 651-989 Rock is the KQ talking text line. Candace, we have a caller.
Bruce from White Bear Lake.
Bruce, what's up, brother? Good morning.
Hey, Steve. I'm from White Bear Lake, and my best motorcycling buddy moved down to Charlotte. And his son moved down there a couple of years ago, or before us. So we're sitting there outside in our black motorcycle jackets, and we're just sweating bullets, and he's all acclimated. And it's just really different. But the thing that we went to what do you call them? One of those swap meets or where they have all the stuff. And
swap meet.
Everybody said, well, you'd say, excuse me, and the expression was, oh, you're fine. I don't know if you've caught
sure.
that before. But
I just said it yesterday. So, excuse me, you're fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's about all I got, but thanks, guys.
Oh, you got it. Thanks for the call. Oh, that's a standard one. No, you're fine. You're good.
Yeah. Not at all.
If I had my druthers, I was unfamiliar with that one until I appeared in a play called Lil Abner. I was in the cast.
Oh, funny.
And my name, I'm not making this up, speaking of Clem Haskins, I was called, my character was Clem in Little Abner. Pennyroyal Players, 1976, you can look it up. But there was that song, if I had my druthers, I'd druther have some brothers to bash in his punkin' head, would be the line. But I heard people say that once that hit my radar, I heard people, that was a very normal thing. Like, I don't know, if I had my druthers, I'd probably just, stayed in school. And it's like, wow, if I had my druthers, that's a good one.
Hey, this is Steve Gorman, and this is the best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
The full body deodorant?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Full body deodorants are catching on, apparently. According to Google, people are searching full body deodorants more and more and more every year. This is a quote from what is known as a deodorant expert. We're finding that people are struggling with body odor in general. Men, they focus on their chest and private areas, but for women, it's under the bra.
The boob sweat. Yeah.
Some people take extra showers if they feel they need it. Others use fragrances to layer the clothes to mask their odors. Full body deodorant, just stop, for God's sakes.
Apply it like a lotion. Fingertips, pits, under boob, thigh folds, butt cracks, feet below the belt, in your under boob, along your bikini line, your vulva, up between your butt cheeks, butt cracks, boob, butt cracks, vulva.
Butt cracks in the morning.
I don't know what just happened, but I'm already regretful.
There's Europe. That smell. I always feel like I'm gonna Europe. But anyway, there's Europe where it can get a little randy, and then there's the United States where we all want to smell like chemicals. Just let a few pheromones get through. It's how we attract each other. It's how boys and girls and boys and boys and girls attract each other. We dig our pheromones. You gotta let them out a little bit. Doesn't mean you have to go. We were talking about crazy roommates. I had that roommate that decided that he was not going to use any of that aluminum deodorant that's going to give him Alzheimer's and all these body soaps filled with chemicals. Now he went with the all-natural. Was it called Tom's or something like that?
Tom's in Maine.
Yeah. It turns out it doesn't work.
No.
Turns out he
Oh, God,
still
no.
stunk. It was just smelled like baby powder and body odor and chicken noodle soup. There's a happy medium, but my God, head to toe, stop it.
Yeah, no use for that at all. Do you guys know what the Nextdoor app is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my wife keeps tabs on the Nextdoor app, and every now and then she'll just do a screenshot and share a post. And this is one that just came up yesterday. There's an elderly gal named May, and she posts a lot. And yesterday's it was, "There's an awful smell out my front and back door." That was it. That's the post.
Wait a second. House, home, what? Hey,
Yeah, and of course my first thought was that's just a you thing, May. That's all you.
Yeah.
Outside.
Yeah,
My front door and back door would just be outside.
It could just be outside. Yeah, a lot of those odors. Like let's just say it's a skunk. It's not going to just go. A skunk isn't thinking, "I'm going to fire this guy's backyard up."
Yeah.
And then it looks at the young skunk. No, that's too much. You don't want the front yard to smell. We just want the backyard to smell. That is not at all how that
I'll
works.
tell you, my Italian boyfriend was kind of stinky, but it was like a good, like you said, Zep. I was like
manly
into
musk.
it. I was, it attracted me, But
The wine helped.
I was at Target the other day, and there was a woman looking at the big display of Lume deodorant, the all-body stuff, and I walked by and just happened to catch her eye, and she got all embarrassed.
Well, sure she did.
Yeah, I don't need this.
Yeah,
it's for a friend.
Yeah. Let your sweat out. Stink a little bit. It's all right.
It's the best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
Google creates this list of the most searched questions. They filter through 25 plus billion keywords. I mean, they just go through so many things. The number one search so far this year on Google, the top search is this. What time is it?
What?
Seriously.
You're on a device
Why would
that has a clock.
Yeah.
Is there a device that you can Google that doesn't tell you the time?
I always Google that on daylight savings time just to be sure.
Okay.
Maybe it's some existential search question.
Right.
Time to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Time is it really?
What if that's what Google said?
Yeah, kind of like a Chicago thing there. Does anybody really know what time it is?
Time to address that tapping on your shoulder that your subconscious has been trying to get you to notice for decades.
Right. So,
Man.
The other thing all of our devices have is GPS now. They always know where we're at and why we're there and when we're there. So I see number 4 or number 5 on this Google list for the month of January. Where am I? Is that existential too? Existential? I can't say that word. Where am I? You don't. Wow, that's about 500,000 people Googled where am I in January.
Okay, number 8, I've Googled this in the past. How to tie a tie. Because I went so long with it, and I wore ties all the time. I used to wear them on stage. I used to, and then at some point, probably shortly after we had our first child, because then all of a sudden, like, I'm not putting on a tie. I'm going to get vomit all over it if I do. At some point, I stopped tying ties. And there was a time in my life when it dawned on me, like, the only time I ever really wear a suit or have to look nice, it's a wedding or a funeral. And in between, I don't care. There's no event that's going to force me into something like this. But at some point, we were going to a funeral probably 10 years ago, and my son and I are going to wear ties. And I said, yeah, let me show you how this works. And then I looked at him. I go, hang on a minute. And I walked out of the room, and I went and pulled up a YouTube, and I watched a guy tie a tie. And as soon as I saw it, I remembered it. But if I hadn't watched that, I put the tie around. I mean, I held it, and I was like, I totally forget what to do here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A really bizarre thing. So I'm glad to know I'm not the only guy that can't remember those sort of things.
No.
What year is it? I guess in January, maybe, but still.
Really? You don't. It's numerical, right? You just add one.
Right.
Okay.
It's an ascending thing. Every year it goes up one. Just never goes back the other way. Always goes forward.
Yeah.
It's like the rows on an airplane. Every time I'm sitting on a plane, I watch people. They stop at every. Is that
Stop
12?
at every one.
And then
my God.
What's that one say? That says 13. The next one says 14.
Oh my God.
And I just sit there every time going, just God, look at the boarding pass once. guesstimate, well, I'm in 23, it's going to be a few steps. Just go a little further before you stop and look again. I'm always behind the guy who checks every aisle, and I'm just like, oh, my God, please let me get to my seat.
Just want to kind of hip check him, right? The last time I was on, there was a lady, and I'm sitting on the aisle, 16. Got myself a good row there. Number 16, right?
Yeah.
And she comes walking up, and she's 16. I said, yeah. And she goes, are you sure? I said, oh, yeah, I don't know. So I do that thing. I don't know. I'm going to have sleepwalking through the whole process. Yeah, look, I'm 16. She goes, because it's really kind of in the middle of the rows. I'm like, all right, I do, she goes, and then she starts counting from the. I'm like, no, it's 16. Come on in. Yeah. Unfortunately, you have to sit next to me. I wish it wasn't 16, but it is. But she wasn't completely lined up, I guess, with the chair. You know how they revamped those planes over the years. I see a lot of people here Googling, in the top 20 anyway, how to deactivate Facebook, how to delete Facebook, how to delete Instagram. That's a January thing. That's it. Yeah, I had it with the social media. People always rebelling. I don't know if they did it or not, but people are curious about it.
Yep. Every golfer has Googled this one. What time is sunset? You're just trying to get how many holes can I get in?
Yeah. And
what song is this? I just realized. I remember years ago. What's the app that tells you what song you're listening? Shazam.
Oh, I love Shazam.
Soundhound.
And I had that app in my phone, Shazam. And then after a while, I realized I never used that. I delete it. Mm-hmm. And then I was with somebody last year, and they just said, hey, Siri, what song is this? Shazam's automatically in your iPhone. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's cool.
I was so excited. I used it like 9 times that day. Every TV commercial,
it's in there.
Just incidental music on. It's incidental music. By the way, I just said that my phone just lit up. It's now listening to every word I'm saying because I said the words "Hey Siri," and there it goes again. I was watching TV and every song that plays in the background for a while. I'd like, what song is this? I was just so fascinated. It was like a kid. Getting his first. I got the training wheels off again, and now, of course, I'm like, I don't care what song it is. If I don't already know it, I don't have time. I have Googled this many times. How long to boil an egg? I cannot retain the information how to do a hard-boiled egg. I have to look it up every time.
Let's be honest. How often do you boil an egg in a year?
Couple, 3-4 times. Sure.
Yeah, you like the hard-boiled eggs.
I'll get excited about like my own version of a chef salad. That's always what it is. I'm going to make a big salad, and I'm like, oh, man, 1 hard-boiled egg, maybe even 2 would be awesome on this. Then I think, I'm going to take the time. I'm going to do this.
God, I haven't boiled an egg, since the girls were coloring them for Easter, probably. I don't get around to that, but I am the guy that will go out and get it. And in the ramen, you get the egg in the ramen.
See, there's always a reason.
Thing.
You can just get the prepackaged hard-boiled eggs now. Get a little bag.
I would never.
They're not as good.
There's something about that. It's really, really gross to me.
It ain't right.
No, it's not right. I got to see that water boiling. I gotta pull that egg out and act like I know what I'm doing. Yeah, obviously.
We need some more natural things in our diet, I think. See here in the top 30, Candace Googling, why is my poop green and what causes diarrhea?
Oh, I Google bodily fluids all the time.
Really?
Yes.
You're upping the average here, I think. You put them in the top 30.
Does it make sense when you find the answers? Do you go, oh, okay, that's why?
No, don't Google things like that.
Yeah.
Why does my stomach hurt? Number 18.
Oh, there you
right there. Wow.
I do that all the
20.
time.
Bam.
There it is.
That's pretty great.
What is Temu? What is TEMU? I don't know. I just saw that at 19, right after why does my stomach hurt? What is that? I don't know.
I don't know that either.
I think it's like a clothing brand site
it
or
is.
something.
What does 333 mean? People are Googling that. I mean...
Yeah, it's an angel number.
Obvious.
It's a very, very powerful angel number.
3 encourages you to put energy into your own growth and expansion and then your own journey and, where you want to be, where you'd like to be. And then it encourages you to dream big. Who doesn't know that? I'm just reading an article about it right now. I've never heard of it. 333.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's new to me.
Made up crap.
Yeah, like you said, he's just half a little devil. He's a 333. How long do cats live is on there. And by the way, I guarantee
that was me.
90% of those are not like, I hope he lives forever. It's like, oh my God, how long do I have to put up with this animal? How long do cats live?
Longer. They live a long time, it turns out. Much longer than dogs on average.
Okay, I don't believe number 48 at all. When is Father's Day? Please. No one's asking.
Yeah, no one's asking. No one cares.
When is Mother's Day? I could see it. Father's Day. How about this one? Okay, I mean, I guess we could probably make sense of why people are Googling this. Who died today? I guess if you saw like a headline or it's a great, or you see a quote, it's a great loss or something, and instead of just clicking on that link, you go to Google and write who died today. Interesting.
You mentioned his name yesterday, and this is how you mentioned it. Of course, it was his birthday. You went, Gene Hackman. You just said that. You just kind of blurted it out there and then left the dramatic pause, and I went, oh, my God, Gene Hackman died.
Yeah.
He's 94, and he's out there writing plays and stuff.
And so you were, for a moment, you were a living Denzel gif of the relief. And every Twitter, every time someone thinks someone's dead, they post that thing where he's like,
they do.
The relief of Denzel.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Okay, so how middle-aged are we? I got a quiz, and we're gonna all answer. I'm gonna keep score. Ready? We're gonna give a point for every positive answer, and we're gonna start with Candace, the youngest middle-aged person I've ever known in my life.
Yes.
Number one, you can't sleep past 9 a.m. Be honest,
Yes.
Candace. Wait, that's
Well,
true?
Usually, I don't know.
Generally
unless
speaking.
I'm up really late.
An
That doesn't-
all-nighter?
Yeah.
Oh, if you're still pulling all-nighters, you're not middle-aged, by
Okay.
the way.
I guess
But
I can't say that, but I usually wake up around 8 automatically on the weekends.
Oh, well, then I'm going to give you a point. Zep, can you sleep past 9? We all know the answer is no.
No, I can't do that. I've never been very good at sleeping past 9, even when I went to bed at 5 a.m.
Right. Tony, come on.
No, I don't.
Not
a
a
large
chance.
sleeper. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay. See, we're okay.
Early
How about this?
morning guy.
You can't start a movie past 9 p.m. Now,
You mean 7?
well, we can start a movie, but this is basically saying you won't finish it. So you can't start a movie past 9. For me, 100% accurate. Candace?
Give me a point.
Yeah, I'll fall asleep for sure.
Tony?
No, I can. On weekends, I stay up way too late, and I mess up my schedule every week.
Attaboy.
Yes, sir.
I knew one of us.
Keep us young, Tony.
No, Forever Young Lee, they call him. How about this? You call your children for tech support. Candace, you can use your little brother on this one if you need. Yes.
Nope, I'm savvy.
You're savvy. Tony?
No,
Tech
August and Hudson come to the rescue all the time.
Yeah, there you go. Zep?
No, you know what? The galleys, not too much. No, they'll get me on stuff like, Dad, that's not how you use Snapchat. But for the techie stuff, I still get calls from them on how to set up their phone.
Nice.
They get a new phone. So I'm not taking a point on that one.
Okay, how about this? You have, at one point in your life, fixed a typo with whiteout or liquid paper.
Yes.
You have, Candace?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like computers didn't come around until 2nd grade, 3rd grade.
Wait, so you were using liquid
You
paper in
fraud.
1st grade?
Maybe they were later. Now I don't remember. When did computers come out?
All right.
When did computers come out? I bought my first desktop computer in 1996.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was 6.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm giving you the point anyway. By the way, the three of you are all sitting on 3. I'm already at 4. I've hit every one of these. You have called a 30-year-old kid. Oh, look at that kid over there. This kid's good. This
week.
100%.
There is no difference between 20s and teens for me anymore. I don't know. Either you're in your 20s or your teens, which really seems to. I'm 25. I'm like, I don't know. You could be 15. I don't know.
That's true. Tony, can you imagine yourself if you're referencing somebody? Oh, look at that kid over there. I mean, a 30-year-old.
I use that term of endearment all the time. Anyway,
There you go.
I call everybody kid.
Okay, well then I'm going to give it. How about this? You swap ailment stories with your friends.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought we have already
course.
this morning.
Yeah, that's the basis of this show,
Ointment.
is it not? I'm giving everybody a point on that one.
Yeah.
You're on Facebook, but not Grindr.
Oh, the coffee app. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, it's where you get your coffee beans, Grinder,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
I know what Grinder is. You guys hit me to it because of that morning I went Grinder. It's not even for ladies, and there's no E in it. It's not grind her. It's Grindr. I am on Facebook, but I am not on Grinder yet.
I'm with you there, Tony. I'm going to assume you're also in Nix.
Yeah.
Candace.
Yeah, nope.
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 Yeah, nope. How about this? You write appointments on a paper calendar.
I've never done that.
By the way, less than 12 hours ago.
Really?
We have a giant calendar. You fill in the numbers each day.
Sure.
Rosemary and I just with a big calendar in front of us, writing all of it in for the next couple months because there's back and forth. There's the kids are doing this. I got a gig here, and a paper calendar still is the thing. I can put it on my phone. I can put it on my laptop. It means nothing. If it's on a paper calendar, it's real, and I can make plans. So I am 100% old as hell.
Not taking a point on that one. Yeah, I've not been.
No.
I got on board with the digital calendar, but the old paper calendars, if I did write on them, then I forgot to refer to them. So
you get a paper calendar. It's like every month looks the same, and then you have to find out where the first is. You write in all the numbers, and so like March 1st is a Friday. And, so you're like, 1, 2, and then you go through. I've been filling one of those out and started on the wrong day. And it's like literally like, no. I get so angry and have to waste a page of the calendar. And Rosemary's like, just cross that one out. I'm like, no. It has to look perfect.
So easy to edit on my phone.
I know. But there's so much crap on it's like voicemail. I never even listen. If you leave me a message, I'm sorry.
I have to get my mom a Maltese calendar every year for Christmas since like I was a kid.
Does she really want that, or you just got used to doing that?
Like
she demanded.
Maltese
No, she demanded it because she likes to see all the different kinds of Maltese.
Okay. That's exciting, and it's great for both of you. You don't have to think about it. She knows what she's getting. It's one less wrinkle in the day. How about this one? You're not quite sure how you got that bruise.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. That's it. Man. My wife will probably not be happy I'm sharing this story. But last week, the week before last, I was here. She was in Nashville. And Nashville got a big snowstorm, 8 inches, which in Nashville is that's like getting 40 inches up here. I mean, it shut the city down. And she walked out the back door of the house and went down the back steps and went right over, slipped on the ice and went down hard. And she texted me, and what she wrote was, if you want to see me fall, pull up the Ring camera. And so, of course, I did. And I really wish I hadn't, because it was horrifying to watch my wife fall like that. And she's fine, but on her arm, on the inside of her elbow, just a crazy bruise. And she actually said, she goes, well, this bruise is fine because at least I know where it came from. Yeah, that's the funny thing. You get to a place in life when you're like, I have scratches on my face a lot. And what we finally determined, check this out. I bit my nails my whole life. I stopped biting my nails during COVID. All the hand washing. Yeah. Remember early days of the pandemic, it was like everywhere you looked, it was like 20 full seconds of scrubbing and do not touch your face. It was like, get your hands away from your face. And for the first time in my life, I did that, and I no longer bite my nails, which is like I'm new to the whole concept of having fingernails you can use. It's great. But like if I have an itch, I go to scratch. I still scratch as if I don't have a nail, and I have like marks on my face. Kind of at least once a month, she'll go, "Hey, you have a scratch on your face." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I did that," and I've done it in my sleep. And I've done it in my sleep. I've I wake up and I have like a line right down my face, and I'm like
self-maul.
Yeah, crazy self-harm with fingernails. Who knew?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the next one. For the record, I am sitting at 9 for 9. Candace, you're at 6, and the other guys are at 7 each. So we're all in the ball game. Here's one. Okay, you gain weight just by being near food. Funny, but is it really true? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm gonna pass on that one.
I gain weight from eating the food I'm near all the time, but that's always been a thing. But yeah, it's there was a time when I used to brag. I'd be like, I could eat 25 Big Macs a day. I wouldn't gain a pound. I'm lean and I'm mean and I'm not too far, but that kind of thing. But now, I can eat salads, 7 days a week, and it's got the spare tire. I'm rocking it, baby.
Oh yeah. Don't get me started. Just a boiler I'm working on at all times.
But I don't care anymore.
Yeah, when there's a time in your life when you look in the mirror and go, I'm finally the shape of a keg. Okay. Yeah. I guess that was self-determination in process.
I'm cool with that.
How about this one? You go into the bank to make a deposit.
No.
Nope.
I still go to the drive-thru occasionally. I mean, mostly if I have an actual paper check, which is not very often, but I just do it on the phone. But I will still go through the drive-thru. But go into a bank, I have when I didn't have a deposit slip, and I had to go in there and I had the account number, I had to fill out, the actual you have to fill in the account information on the blank deposit slip, but it's still been a few years. I'm trying to think. Yeah. Okay, never mind. Screw it.
Yeah, the last time I went into a bank was to get a roll of quarters because we were on vacation, and I will often, if it's longer than a few days, I just don't pack a lot. So at some point, I want to do a little laundry there in the hotel, and it was pay. I'm like, what kind of cheap-ass hotel? So I go down to the desk. Can I get some change? We don't have a change. You don't have change?
Ugh.
You have a change machine? No. She said, but there's a bank over there. So, yeah, I had to go over to the bank and get a roll of quarters.
Yeah, there's just no need.
A couple of years ago, no.
You have used, and not like for shtick, but you literally had at one time in your life a rotary phone. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Everybody had that. Candace, you did?
Yeah.
Still rotary phone for you?
Rotary?
Does that mean
You sure?
a house phone?
A house phone but it's
More
not
than that.
buttons to punch.
Google it.
You don't punch the buttons. You literally roll this rotary thing that goes.
No, I'm out.
Yeah. I was not thinking you were going to be on that one.
They're so cute, though. I want one. Oh my God, there's a pink one.
Yeah, rotary phone.
Yeah.
And then finally, you can't find your glasses, the ones that are sitting on top of your head. I've done that.
I hang them on my T-shirt all the time, and we'll be looking for them and get the look down. Oh, crap. That's embarrassing.
All right, Tony, ever been looking for the glasses that are on your head?
Yeah, the same thing. I like hook them on my shirt in front.
Yep.
Forget.
Okay. I remember, Candace, you're out on that one.
I'm out.
I remember very clearly my buddy Dan Baird, who was the singer in the Georgia Satellites. Keep your hands to yourself, guy. Gap-tooth yokel, Dan Baird, one of my favorite people. He would not be upset knowing I called him that. I didn't know him back in the days of the Satellites. I actually met him years ago at a dog park. We had the same kind of dog. I was like, hey, you're Dan, you're Steve. Hey, what's up? And we started becoming buddies. And then we've played a bunch of gigs together since. But I remember he said to me once, he said, yeah, that, there's those moments in life you look back on. And he goes, I knew the game was over when I went to Costco and I bought an entire case of reading glasses. He goes, I bought a dozen at once just because I have one in every room of the house.
Put them all over the house.
And I was like, yeah, that I see it. And I remember thinking like, all right, that's going to be the line in the sand for me. And it was just one of those things we laughed about. And years later, this is now like only 3 years or 4 years ago, I was at Costco and I saw that thing and it's like 12 pairs of readers. And I was like, don't do it. No, you're admitting you're old as hell. I just couldn't do it. And it makes perfect sense because I have to look for my readers all the time. And I couldn't commit to getting a dozen at a time.
You don't want to buy them in bulk.
I totally went. Amazon, you get 20 for like $1.
Yeah.
Not
It's
quite,
ridiculous.
But
Yeah.
And then I just scatter them everywhere. And
All right, well, I hit 11 on that poll, so I led the charge. Tony and Zepp with 9. Candace, just a child at 6. Congratulations.
Thank God. I was worried about myself.
I'm thinking, thank God, middle-aged.
Yeah.
I'm striving for middle age. I mean, this means I'm going to live to 116, I guess.
I've thought that too. I'm like, wow, if I'm middle-aged, I think I'm more like 2/3 aged. Realistically, I hope I'm 2/3 aged. Jeez, I might be 3/4 aged. That'd be terrible.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
I want to do a show about a mobster, and maybe he's in therapy, but mostly they're going to have a lot of food.
Yeah, that's the set I want to be on.
Man, that show. He and Johnny Sack. When Johnny Sack takes over New York, and all of a sudden they're at each other's throats, but then they make I texted my son, who loves the show. I said, man, I just made the mistake of jumping into a Sopranos episode, and he goes, just stop kidding yourself. Start at episode 1.
Yeah, I can't believe you started
he goes,
that one.
Just go back to the beginning and just let her rip.
That's
and I'm
horrifying.
This weekend, I don't know. I don't have any plans yet. I might have to just. I might be Soprano marathoning it all weekend long.
I'll put on a tank top and make some pasta.
Yeah, that
We
episode you watched is really, really hard to watch.
Brutal.
But it's not the worst one. The worst one is when her dog gets killed, and the dog looks just like Gigi. When
it's so
Christopher sits on him.
A fictional dog dying is so much worse than a human being.
Christopher
shot in the back of the head.
sat on the dog.
Yeah, well, that's what happens.
Maybe the dog really did die. Maybe sometimes. I don't know.
If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. The real downside to heroin use is you sit on dogs and they die.
I had to step outside after that episode.
Literally, that you didn't step outside when the woman who owned the dog was killed,
Nah,
but when the dog itself.
She was a rat.
She was. That was.
I remember a rat owned a dog.
I remember watching.
Are we talking about a Disney animated series here? No, I have watched. I did watch it all the way through, except the last episode. I never got around to. But here's what I'm going to do. I know. And then everyone was talking about it.
Is that true?
Yes, I never got around to the last episode, and then everyone started talking about it, and I was like, yeah, why bother? I've heard it now. Just like Breaking Bad, I never got around to the last season. But here's what I'm going to do. When the next time I break a bone, which is imminent, I'm going to watch The Sopranos starting with the last episode and work backwards. Watch the entire series backwards. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, man, that's a memento, that sucker.
Yeah.
Just work it back.
Exactly. Not
Fair
at all.
enough. Check this out. A movie theater down in Florida. Some people told management after they go in, get your popcorn, get your Coke, sit down, watch a feature film. You enjoy yourself. And afterwards, they're coming through the lobby and they're going, hey, I think there might have been a bat flying around the theater. I don't know. I just saw something that looked kind of like a bat. And the manager's like, nah, that's not possible. A few separate reports come filtering in. They are looking for bats in this theater. Can't seem to find anything. And then someone comes in and says, no, these are actually just birds. We have seen them. We're going to deal with it. They call in exterminators. Rather than closing down the theater to have the birds removed, the theater remained open for a few more days. More and more visitors kept saying, no, listen, there's something flying around, and it's not a bird. I know what a bat looks like. These are bats. Guess what? It was indeed bats. They turned on all the lights. They got brooms. They found the bats in there. The Florida Department of Health is looking into this situation. No knowledge at all of any of these bats being rabid, of course, but they want everybody who's been in this theater lately to just be kind of aware of this fact. Have you ever come across a bat in real life?
We had him in the house.
Yeah, had him in the house?
Had to go after him one time, and my dad, just in typical fashion, we got, like some tennis rackets. And as a joke, I'm like, maybe I should put on my football helmet. And he goes, that's a great idea.
That was a good.
Always supportive. Such a supportive dad.
I love bats, man.
You do? Well, I would think you would. You ever bitten the head off a bat?
No, but I was I've always been obsessed with bats because I thought they were flying around outside all the time when I would play outside, in the neighborhood. But then someone told me recently that they're not bats; they're flying squirrels.
No.
Oh, that's even creepier. Those sons of. Don't get me started on flying squirrels. Well, bats,
hold on. Flying squirrels don't actually fly. They just jump and glide.
Yeah. Well, they look like bats.
They go from one spot to another, but they don't switch. They don't switch direction mid-flight and go to another tree. They're just able to glide.
Expert on flying
if
squirrels.
you're busting it, I don't think you're seeing flying squirrels. That's what I'm
bats?
saying.
Right, and bats.
They're bats.
I mean, they have that creepy flap too. It's not like an elegant bird flap.
No,
here in the Midwest, we have the fruit bats, and actually they're they're great for the ecosystem, much like the snakes. They eat bugs, but they get inside all the time. They're little creepers, and they like to get in there. But I remember getting the call. I think there was 10 women living in what they called the beehive in Mankato, down there, Mankato State, where my daughter went. There was a bat, and it was funny because I said, all right, I'll come down after work tomorrow. When I showed up, there were 2 other dads arriving at the same time, and we're all getting out with things like brooms, a shovel, and there was a tennis racket, which it turns out you don't find those tennis rackets as much anymore, but that's the bat machine right there. That's the bat batter. That gets the job done, the tennis racket. But
we got home from school one day, and there was a bat in our carport, just like up on the wall, high up on the wall, and it looked like was just a slap. It looked like someone just threw a little fist of mud up there. It just looked like it was brown, and it looked kind of like mud, or it looked all. Sometimes you see like a little chunk of a wasp nest, and it just looks like, or a hornet hive. It just looks like could be mud from a distance. And I was looking at it, and I'm telling my brother, I'm like, hey, man, I think that's a bat. He's like, nah, that's not a bat. And I'm like, man, I think it is. And it was just because it was just up there, crumpled up like a little ball. And I took a broom, but I didn't do the big part of the broom. I put the handle up there. I just wanted to touch it, like just tap on it. And I did it. Nothing happened. And the second or third time I tapped it on its back, it just extended one wing. And it just came out like in slow motion.
That's cool.
And that was like, It was like I walked home and the old man from Phantasm was in my kitchen. I was like, boy, that's creepy. I mean, it freaked me out for that wing to come out, that little see-through wing on a bat. Great. Oh, man, I dropped that broom like it was, I mean, that was terrifying. If you've ever been to Austin, Texas.
Yes. The Congress
Street
I want to
Bridge.
go there.
It's amazing.
Every night, I mean, it's from...
it's at dusk.
It's at dusk, and it's like, March to November or something. The Congress Street Bridge, that's a main drag right from downtown. There are 1.5 million bats under that bridge is the estimate.
That's crazy.
And right around dusk, I mean, you start to see them, and you're like, when you see 100 bats, you're like, oh, my God, there they are. That's so many bats. And then it's like, oh, no, they're still coming. And then before you know it, it's hundreds of thousands come out.
Yeah.
It goes on for minute after minute after minute. Amazing.
People camp out there every night.
Yeah. Oh,
We've
absolutely.
witnessed that, and they start out like this big cloud, and then they all take off at one time to go feed. And it's an amazing sight.
Like, go out to
it's really cool.
Suck blood. Candace, is there someone on the bat phone this morning?
Yes, we have Rick from Winthrop.
I was really hoping you were going to say Robin. Rick, good morning, sir.
Hey.
What do you got for us?
When I was a kid, teenager, me and my older brother used to sit out in the yard and we'd watch the bats and we'd shoot at them with a 20 gauge.
What? Okay.
They'd fly around.
They're hard to hit.
What's that?
They're hard to hit because they move in that jagged pattern.
They are hard to hit, but you wait till they get fairly close to the yard light.
Okay.
And then you can blast them, but the old man could never figure out why the yard light bulb was breaking. He told him it was a power surge.
Blasted out the light.
Fair enough. Did you ever get anything other than a bat? Do you ever, other than the lights and the bats? Anything else in that victim list?
When the old man found out, we got a pretty good beating out of the deal.
Well,
Well, they're good for that. Yeah, the bat got blasted, you got beaten. Yeah, that's about right.
That all checks out completely.
We never really actually hit any bats either, but it was fun.
Well, that's that's the perfect story, isn't it? Yeah, we used to shoot at the bats all the time. Did you get one? No, God, no.
No, but you got
That
the
works
yard
out.
light.
Yeah, because thanks for the call, Rick. Because think about being a bat. You're up there flying blind. You're just responding to your sonar. You're just every little possible little beep, beep, beep. You got to change direction. I mean, they look like drunk drivers up there flying around.
Yeah,
crazy.
I stepped on one by accident in a ramp downtown Minneapolis.
A live one?
Yeah, I just stepped on it, and I swear it looked up and it went, ay, 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 ay. Still haunts me.
A chihuahua.
If a 100-pound animal stepped on you, you'd make that same noise. Guaranteed. It'd sound a lot like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, we don't have them in abundance in the Midwest. I mean, you talked about the ones down in Austin. Now, are those just harmless bats? Do we have any bats that, not like some of those Eastern European bats, the vampire bats, which exist, by the way. Actually, I think they're in Africa. But I think our bats here in the United States are fairly harmless, right?
No, the bats in Austin are, a lot of them are songwriters. It's funny. No, Candace, do we have another caller?
Yes, Kathy from Brooklyn Park.
Kathy, good morning. Hello, Kathy. What have you got for us this morning?
Oh, I have a nice bat story. When I was actually driving down the freeway and had a coworker following me, I drove by a van and I thought something had flew out his window. And as I'm driving, I look in my rearview mirror and I have a bat on my back window staring at me.
Yeah. Nice.
It looked like he was staring at me, and so I just freaked out. I didn't know what to do and pulled over. And on the freeway, my friend behind me was wondering what the heck, and I got out without grabbing anything. I went and told her I had a bat in my back window. But I think it was the bat that flew from somewhere to my back window instead of that flying out of somebody's van.
Right. That's kind of scary. A lot of things you want to see on a highway. A bat in your window is not one of them.
Right.
Well, you kept it between the lines. You did your job. Well done.
I did.
Could have been a rough one. Thanks for the call. I just looked up the Congress Avenue Bridge that we're talking about in Austin, Texas. It takes about 45 minutes for all the bat at night. It's a 45-minute bat parade.
40 minutes?
It's amazing.
I'm telling you, it's
Holy crap.
hundreds of thousands of bats. It's Because when they first start, the first 10 minutes, you've seen hundreds and hundreds, and you've never seen that many bats, so it feels like a lot. And then all of a sudden, it just multiplies, and then it's like 1,000 per minute, and then 10,000. You're like, whoa, 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 whoa! Like, it's amazing.
And they're just migrating. I've been to Austin a few times. This isn't a year-round thing. They're just migrating through to wherever.
No, they're
this
going
is
to
where
feed.
they live. They come. They go. They're
Oh,
going
really?
out. They're just going
I
out for the
never saw
night.
them.
Every night.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's
I guess I
every
was
night
getting
from
drunk
like
down on the
it's
the main
like
drag down there.
March through November. Like they're not there in the dead of winter, but most of the year,
Yeah.
it's every night at dusk. Here they just are like, let's go, kids, let's go, wake up, Mike, Michael. Let's go. You can hear the bat families just bitching like, again, there are only so many bugs I can eat, Dad. Oh, no, you think that. No, we're going. You get under that bridge.
Surprised there's a damn bug anywhere to be found around there. But, I do miss the old, that sweet call of the ferret bat. I believe they finally went extinct. You don't hear about the ferret bats anymore, but that was a fun bat.
It's the best of the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
We've been talking about some vacation mishaps. Candace, we have a caller, I believe, who wanted to share a story.
Oh, yeah. KQ listener, trip goer, Lisa from Rochester.
Lisa, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you got for us?
I have a story that Candace might remember because it was our second year my husband and I went on the Punta Cana trip.
Okay.
And we had convinced another couple to go with us, and so we are down by Rochester, so we were driving up the night before because we had to get on the plane at an ungodly hour. And we get to the hotel, we get booked in, the husbands are taking care of that. Of course, the women are off to the bathroom, and I come out, and we have to drive around the hotel to the backside, to our room. And we get in the car, and they said, okay, so what do we want to do? Do we want to get food? Do we want to check in? I said, I think y'all need to take me to the emergency room. And my husband looked at me like, what are you talking about? And we ended up at some rinky-dink emergency room because I had such horrible pain. It turned out I had a kidney stone.
Oh, no.
I was going to say gas, but yeah.
And I said, you need to figure this out because I need to be on a plane in about, 6 hours. So I spent the night up all night hoping and praying it would pass before we had to get on. They sent me with a handful of Oxy and my little strainer kit to take on my trip to the sand. And on that trip, my husband also got the worst sunburn ever, but he ended up winning $100 for the worst sunburn, if you remember. And we ended up spending most of that on aloe vera cream. And
poor dear.
No.
Oh, God.
Those Minnesotans headed for warm weather. Just lather up. Just get looking like Candace. You want to be all white, head to toe, in sunscreen.
Well, and he said, "Oh, I don't wear sunscreen. I don't need it. I'm a man,
Yeah,
and it's a lot cooler by the ocean, but the sun is a lot more intense. And he was.
Turns out the sun is the man, right? Yeah, in those situations.
And being the man that any man is, he wants to have the story of my sunburn was so horrible, and it's like, yeah, dude, kidney stones. Okay, you're in second place.
Right,
you can't.
exactly.
No one cares about your little sunburn. Okay.
Distant
I
second.
would sooner give birth 4 more times to my kids than have another kidney stone.
Well, I was going to ask, is that the only time that's happened? One and done?
No, it's happened.
Oh, no,
since,
sorry.
But now I can predict it.
Okay, well, man, hang in there. Good luck to you. That's rough.
Oh, that's
so far,
awful.
you're sitting you're the clubhouse leader for worst moment on vacation. If that's any consolation right now. Thanks for the call.
Yeah,
Thanks, Lisa.
That is the worst moment. Thanks, Lisa. But I think this is the funniest one. David, on the KQ Facebook page, got drunk in San Francisco. Had to pee in the middle of the night. Went to the bathroom, shut the door behind me. I then realized I'm naked in the hallway.
Oh, sure. You know what I call what I call getting drunk in San Francisco?
What?
Going to San Francisco.
Right.
There's a handful of places where I just get there and suddenly I'm like, where's that drinking hat?
My drinking hat.
San Francisco's one of those places. You're just like, the energy here's odd. I better drink a whole bunch of beer. Yeah, man.
Oh, How about a lease? They borrowed a hard plastic topper, for the pickup, one of the toppers. They're driving down to Georgia from Minnesota. While driving through Ohio on the turnpike, the plastic top lifted off, flew across the turnpike into the ditch. They didn't even know it. Thankfully, no one was injured, but they did leave the plastic topper in Ohio on the turnpike that they had borrowed.
I've been driving. I was driving my brother's pickup truck in 1987 with that that plastic camper topper on the back, and I was on a very, very congested 6-lane freeway, and that thing just blew right off at 70 miles an hour. And there was a car right behind me. And right before it blew off, I think the guy saw it shaking or something because he just jerked over to another lane and missed it by seconds. It probably would have, I can't imagine the damage it would have caused. And I'm just driving in this little Chevy, tiny little pickup truck, and all of a sudden just the sound changed. And I look back, and that thing is blasting back off the back of the truck. And it landed, it bounced. It hit the highway, the lane. I'm in the left lane. And it bounced once and immediately, shot to the left, which is towards the giant concrete median, and just came to rest against the median. It didn't hit another car. It got off the road on its own.
Nice.
It was a miracle shot that somehow nobody else was injured or killed or destroyed. It could have been only worse than it was. It was the perfect possible way for that thing to blow off at high speeds. Wow. And by the time I could get over 5 lanes to the next exit ramp, I had missed an exit. By the time I could pull up the highway, go up the ramp, turn around, go back the other direction, because I'm like, I got to go retrieve this thing.
Yeah.
By the time I got back even close, it was gone. Somebody had just scooped it up.
Weird.
Yeah, it was totally gone.
Hey, look at that perfectly good topper just laying there.
And by the way, you know who
never
believed?
Boulevard.
And you know who didn't believe one word of that story? My brother, whose truck it was. He's like, I can't believe. Would you sell it? That's what he said. Yes, I sold your camper topper.
Yeah, because that means he probably didn't have it secured properly.
Well, of course he didn't. Of course he didn't. I'm like, what's wrong with you, Candace? Do we have another caller?
Yes, we have John from St. Paul.
John, good morning, brother.
Good morning, brother.
What do you got for us?
Well, I was probably 12 years old out in upstate New York visiting family on vacation. My cousin had gotten a new bike, and the road they lived on, the one end of the road was a super steep hill. I mean, steep enough to where nowadays I probably wouldn't let my kids have went down it at that age.
Sure.
Just because the speed you get going down it, you don't even have to pedal. It's obnoxious. Well, I took my bike up there, and I thought, I'm doing this. Well, not my bike, my cousin's bike, and I start flying down the hill, and I'm moving, and I'm screaming, having a blast, and all of a sudden, boom, something hit me in the eye. And by the time I realized what it was, I wiped out, crashed into the weeds, got up, and I had gotten stung right directly on the eyeball.
Oh, man.
And
I'm closing my eyes.
My eye was literally this. It looked like you had taken a softball and put it in my eye instead.
Oh, man.
Absolutely. I think that was the second morning, or that was the first morning of waking up on vacation. We were there for 2 weeks, and it was 2 weeks. All I wanted to do, I kept telling my mom and dad, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
I just want to go home. And I just remember that whole 2 weeks was just, I was everybody. We go anywhere, go into McDonald's, going to town to get McDonald's. Everybody's looking at me like, what the? What's happened to him? Because my eye was massive.
Oh, man.
Oh,
that's my first stung in the eyeball story I've ever heard.
God.
And even the doctors, when they took me to the doctor, they said, he actually stung you on the eyeball.
Oh, stop. Wow. I can't take it.
I know. Oh, God.
You didn't. I would imagine the first thing that comes to mind is, well, clearly you lost vision and they had to get rid of your eye, but obviously that didn't happen.
Nope. But I'll tell you what, I couldn't. My face hurt so bad for I think it took almost a week for the swelling to start to subside.
Oh, did you have supervision with that eye? Could you zoom in on things from a
like Spider-Man
long ways
I
away?
couldn't see.
No, right? Yeah.
Man, that's
no, I
awesome.
couldn't see anything, and they were surprised that I even got my eyesight back. The doctors actually thought I was gonna. They wouldn't tell my parents, "Oh yeah, his eye will be okay." They wouldn't say that to him because they didn't know.
Yeah, well, hell.
No repercussions after that. Everything's cool.
Nope, everything's cool. Everything's copacetic since then. But man, it was literally as soon as you guys started talking about worst big vacation disasters, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
you don't let a bug get near your face, do you? You don't let a bug get anywhere near your face now. One of those stingers, a wasp, a bee.
I can't stand bees. I can't. Oh my God.
Those sons of
nightmares. They're saying nightmares.
That's all right. Well, you've literally turned all of our stomachs. Thank you for the call, man. That's great.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
If you're planning to summit Everest, if that's something if that's on your bucket list, I got to get to the top of Mount Everest. First of all, you got problems. Okay, let's just establish that right now. The idea that you want to do that to yourself, I'll never understand it. My wife has a fear of heights, by which I mean a single-story building. Get her on the roof, and she'll lay down into a fetal position and go into a bit of a shock. I've seen that literally happen. My wife one time took skis off and walked down an entire ski slope because she started to, just couldn't handle it. When someone says they're afraid of heights, believe them. I made that mistake. Took me a while to finally accept that's what that is. But yet, she'll watch anything you ever see about Mount Everest. She's obsessed with documentaries, series, anything about climbing Everest. She's so in, and I guess it's because she knows I mean, I don't really understand it. There's something about I can't stand heights, and she watches it in pure terror, abject horror, but she can't turn away. It's her thing. I've never really thought about it either way. It's nothing I would ever consider doing. I know it's not possible. Seeing a thing about Mount Everest, it's like watching someone play, a harp. I'm never going to do that. It's okay. Sure, I'm glad you can do that.
Well, if you find yourself sitting in front of one, maybe you take a poke at it.
Exactly. I mean, I like to walk. I like to hike. I don't want to even think about that. But now I have an entirely new reason to never consider doing Mount Everest. If I wake up one day and that's my new plan, I'm going to do it. Then I have a new reason to talk myself out of it, and it's this: Mount Everest apparently is, and this is a quote, blanketed in human waste.
Oh,
ish.
I know about dead bodies.
Never occurred to me that all those guys going up, all those guys and gals going up and down, they still got to poop. Right. Where do you do it? Where do you go? What do you do? Apparently, you just pull over and drop it in the ditch. Or in this case, you just walk off that trail a couple feet because every step matters. And you just let it fly wherever you can. Oh. And then you zip up and continue to the summit.
Yikes.
And so now there's a new rule. If you go up, you gotta bring down. You gotta weigh the same when you come back down. So you gotta bring bags, and you gotta bag your own and bring it down off the hill.
Wow.
Oh, like the dog walkers. The
dog
bags.
Exactly. Oh. It is. It's the new rule. I mean, I've never really thought about it because everyone's clearly bundled up in layer after layer of clothing. And you've got to withstand like Everest, not like figurative, literal Everest winds and temperatures. And now, that's the new rule. Just the thought of that, just because it never melts up there, it's never warm enough. So it's all just this perfectly pristine Snickers bars all the way up and down the mountain.
That's going to ruin the iconic photograph you get to take when you finally reach the summit and you make it to the top. And you're holding up the flag, and you have the poop bag in your hand.
I hope someone does that sooner
Takes
than
away
later.
the magic.
Yeah, next year in the spring when people are going, I really would love to see that.
Well, there's no such thing as the poop fairy. Yeah.
That's very true.
Oh.
Take care of it yourself.
Did you hear about Mike? He summited with 3 bags. Yeah, he had quite a day that day.
Man.
Totally crazy. By the way, it's also making people sick. When the snow does melt, it does melt a little bit. Then the water, you get some water flow because it's not just the summit, it's all the way from base camp up. And so some of that does melt in the summer months. It gets in the water. Particles are blown around in the air where people are breathing. I mean, it's so much that they're talking about air particles.
God, it's covered in corpses and feces.
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention Not to mention the fact that there's also dead bodies. Wow. Yeah, that's something. I remember watching the first time one of those Everest shows popped up, and it was the guy from New Zealand who was the tour guide, and he would take people. And like Zepp said before the break, Everest used to be, a few people a year would try it, and they're just they are deep, heavy-duty adventurers. This is what they do. I remember watching that show on Nat Geo or History Channel, whatever it was, the Everest summits. And there was a guy from L.A. who was a cab driver, and he had a bad knee. I don't know, man. I just really wanted to see if I could do it. And I'm like, okay, that's no different than saying the Yankees are going to put you in as DH in Game 7. I haven't swung a bat in 31 years, but let me see what happens.
Right.
Completely insane.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they have a death zone up there. It's become so accessible and affordable for the wealthier sector that I kind of feel like Everest has jumped the shark. I think we all remember the images a few years ago when they were just all packed up there. There was some guy that was having a problem up there in the death zone where you can't breathe and need the oxygen, and they had to evacuate him, but they couldn't get him down because it was so packed.
Too many
the
people.
line getting up there. Yeah, it was obscene to watch. And now it's getting just absurd.
Yeah, I forgot one thing. They're estimating 3 tons of human excrement on the path. 3 tons.
What are Sherpas for? Aren't they?
6,000 pounds.
Let the Sherpas pick it up. Aren't they really kind of like the pet owners and the climbers are the pets, the rich pets? They have to.
But in this case, the Sherpas are. Do it without a Sherpa. Good luck to you. I mean, those guys. Edmund Hillary, when he went up, what's the guy's name? Torgay, Ensign Torgay, the first Sherpa. Yeah. He got there first. I mean, Edmund Hillary gets the credit, but the Sherpa was a step in front. He was in front of him. If memory serves, I believe that's the story. Those guys do that without oxygen. I mean, they're just
Tenzing Norgay.
That's it, Tenzing Norgay. That's it. Yeah. Let's go. It's interesting too because I look at those Everest shows and I watch the people involved, and it's like every one of those summits is like the movie Speed, like this incredibly intense situation that you don't count on, and it just seems to go when you get down from it. And I look at people because you have men and women, and I always wonder how many of those couples do they hook up when they get back down? They're back down and they did it together. You share such an intense experience. There's going to be that's going to open up some pathways to some interesting conversations. You don't really need to, there's not a lot of flirting is my point. You're like, we just did that together. What are we talking about? Let's just get after it.
I wonder if anyone, human beings being what they are, has knocked off a piece up at the top of Everest. They're just up there. They're like, here we are. We did it. A lot of people now have done it. It's the, how many miles high? The 7 mile high club or whatever. I mean, just tried to, I suppose maybe that's physically not
that's not going to
possible.
happen.
No, not. Are you sure? Because now I kind of want to try it.
I don't know.
I want to get up there and just whack off at the top of Everest.
People get it. People get to the top of Everest. They're up there for just like a couple of minutes. It's and more people die on the way down than on the way up.
That's right.
They get up there and they're, what could be worse than doing it, but then on the way down, you expire. I guess for those folks, that's kind of like, that would actually be better. It's like, well, at least I made it. And it's like, yeah, great. We got a photo of you, I guess.
Right. That's the thing. You used to come down. I mean, Everest, you were one of the great explorers. You came down and you went on a talking tour and people were in awe of you. Now your CEO boss comes, I climbed Everest. Yeah. Okay, great. It's just become, like I said, I think it's jumped the shark a little bit. Still an amazing feat of endurance and strength and will, but too many people are doing it. You see that in what I'm going to use in quotations here, the extreme sports. I like to find a good thrill. I like to get out and do those things. And you really had to, live a bit on the edge to do some of those things because we were all just kind of figuring, not we as in I was some sort of pioneer, but, I've been into it for 30 or 40 years. Now it's really become commercialized, like everything, hunting and motorcycle ride, a little pastime here in America. I'm going to use exploited and not the worst connotation, and monetized it and everything else. I think about going in a hunting store. It was a hunting section in the back of a department store, and you went back there and you had which flannel am I going to get and which wool pants am I going to wear. Now you have these cathedrals of hunting stores out there. So things have just, I don't know. I don't know what the last extreme frontiers are out there, but when I have to start picking up my poop on the way to the Everest, I just feel like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go, I don't know, sit on my pontoon and go fishing instead.
Probably so. I can't imagine. I agree with you. By the way, there are other summits that no one's ever gotten to the top of because it's too.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a few that you can't get to. So let me see that thrill seeker. Everest is old hat. I say that as a guy who, you give me a mile and a half of switchbacks at sea level, and I'm like, I can't believe what the human body can endure.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
Today is, in fact, National Poop Day.
What?
I've already celebrated.
I'm not making this up. National Poop Day. This is a real thing, if you can believe it. We have a day dedicated to something that we have no choice in doing.
It's the toilet bowl cleaners.
I like it. Yeah. It's kind of catchy. I don't know. National Poop Day was created in 2016 at the Madison Children's Museum. Children passed a referendum to allow for the celebration. It's meant to celebrate and explore one of the most vital functions of the human body. Which, okay, I get that. Okay, kids museum. I don't know if it's because I was in a house with 10 people, 6 of whom were boys like me. 6 boys, 2 girls, and a couple of parents. That was the Gorman household. But no one had time to have any hang-ups. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Neuroses, not welcome. Like, just get in line and do your job and shut up. And having an issue with bodily functions, that wasn't a part of it. You know what I mean?
No.
It was just like, just wipe the seat. But that's it. But I've had friends. I've known people my whole life who are kind of wound up about poop. They have a real issue with this. And in fact, so of course people go right to polling. 46% of Americans will only poop if other people are around in case of emergency.
Wait, what?
They will hold it just until they're alone.
I know people like this.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
No, I know guys. I mean, blue-collar guys that, I don't poop in public. I got to drive home. You're what? Or we'd be out hunting. I'm not going to, well, you just crap in the woods. No, I got to head back to the outhouse. You got to head back. You're going to crap in a house outside next to our cabin, but you're not going to poop out here in the woods. They get some weird hang-up. I remember I grew up in a smaller family, just 3 of us, and one bathroom there in the old farmhouse. But I remember going over and doing a sleepover with a friend in elementary school who had something like the Gorman house. I don't know how many. I never even counted, but it was, right around a half dozen kids. And I go in and I'm taking a bath. And, which is a very private thing in our family. You go in and you go to bath. No one comes in. Maybe mom has to come in occasionally or something. But one of the brothers just comes storming in. Boom! Plops down on the toilet and just starts pooping. And he goes, and I'm looking at him with this look of shock on my face. He's like, what? I'm not pooping in the tub, dude. I was like, okay, sounds good. You're right. I mean, I don't know, understand the hang-ups, but Candace, aren't you're weird about pooping not in public?
Well,
all right.
Absolutely not. I mean, for me, it's not like I can hold it in either. If I gotta go, I gotta go.
You gotta go.
It's always an emergency situation.
Have you ever had to go anywhere in an emergency situation that wasn't a bathroom, like out by the dumpster or, and one of the garbage cans back by the other radio station in the building?
I don't want to get into that.
I just heard the most ennui-filled, oh.
No. Yeah, there was one time in Italy I had to go, and I couldn't get into the bathroom. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm too embarrassed.
No, it's fine. Let it go.
But this is funny. So, like,
As
I was
you did.
with a boy, and we went and got breakfast. And then we were going to go back to my house after and watch a movie, and we both had to go. For some reason, the pancakes and eggs, those always.
That Italian dairy, pretty rich.
So he's like, I got to go to Target really quick. He was trying to go stop somewhere before we went to my house. And I was like, no, if we're going to be together, like, we're going to have to do this together.
What? Not together.
So I did it first, and then he went in after. He's like, well, fine, but you have to go first. I'm not letting you come in there after I do it.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago online there was a listing. It made the rounds. It kind of went viral because it was a legitimate home listing, and it was out on Long Island, and the master bathroom had 2 toilets facing each other. And I just remember
not eye contact. That's where I draw the line. Maybe not. No knees touching. No eye contact. No. Yeah, I don't know if then you're syncing up your bowel movements. Now it's getting a little weird.
That was akin to when I was a kid. One day, the Catholic Church announced face-to-face confession. Like one day, like you go to confession and you're in the booth and it's a screen and you can't see the priest's face. You just see the silhouette, and then you hope he doesn't know who you are, but of course he does because that's how they operate. They know voices and they're clear thing,
Yeah.
But then they had this whole thing. It was like the Vatican II or whoever. I was in 6th or 7th grade, and suddenly I'm sitting in a brightly lit room in a folding chair, directly just me and a priest are staring at each other, and he's like, and I have to confess to a guy, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
No.
And that's the first thing that came to mind when I saw the 2 toilets facing each other. That's just like, that's a confessional of sorts. You know what I mean? You're going to walk in there, and no matter what words you say, you're also confessing something else. Your body, your central nervous system, it's all horribly aligned if it makes sense for you to poo with your partner.
There's an honesty there that you can't escape. There's a line you've crossed that you'll never get back.
Yeah,
on
they
the other
say
side of.
They say the most honest form of art is writing, because even in the subtext and what isn't written oftentimes is just as important as what is, and the true intent comes out in the writing, whether the author means to or not. There's all these things. There's a million anecdotal quotes from people who study art, and they say, generally speaking, like this, what is said and what isn't said are equally important. And something about what you just said, Zepp, reminded me of that. Like, yeah, you and your partner look at each other in the eye while you're both releasing. That's crossing a Rubicon that I dare not. I don't even want to know about, much less consider involving my life with.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.